Live from the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet brings to you NCAA Division II baseball action live on the ECC Network. Our second game of our East Coast Conference doubleheader today features the Lions of Lincoln University taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is once again Nicholas Pavona. I will be bringing you the action here for game number 2 of this doubleheader here today. The fourth game, the final game of this 4-game set between the Lions and the Dolphins. The Dolphins took game 1 of today's doubleheader by the final of 8-3, and they will now look to take all 4 games in this series between them and Lincoln. For the Dolphins on the mound is Francesco Bonvini. He'll get the start for CSI here. And this one, for Bonvini, this will be his 5th appearance of the year, his 4th start. He is 0-2. He's pitched 14 innings, has allowed 19 hits, 21 runs, 14 earned, 12 walks, 16 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .322 against him. And has an ERA of 9 on the season. And he's coming off a solid outing his last time out against Mercy. 6 1/3 on that one, 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And it was in line for the victory in that game against the Mavericks. Miguel Agramonte will lead it off here in the top of the first, and we are getting set to get underway for the second game of this doubleheader. As I mentioned, the final game of this 4-game set here at the baseball complex between the Dolphins and the Lions. CSI has taken the first 3 games. They now go to 4-3 in conference play. It has now dropped Lincoln to 1-6 in conference play. Bonvini's first pitch misses low and inside for a ball, 1-0. That one misses low. Count now is 2-0. Agramonte will lead it off. He's playing in left field once again. Be followed by Alex Jones, who's in right field, batting second. 2-0. That one line foul behind the plate, 2-1. At some point, we will be joined by Joe Foreman here for our baseball broadcast. He is still down at softball. They are currently playing between the Dolphins and the Knights in that one. Looks to be that they're in the top of the 5th inning. The game tied at 3 as there's a big swing and a miss from Agramonte there. And the count goes to 2-2. Game 1, so the Dolphins trail in this one early 3-0. So a 3-run homer off the bat of Jaden Greenidge. That one's fouled behind the plate right off of the protector. And that home run was in the dead center field off the batter's eye and just getting over that center field wall. Greenidge at that point put the Lions up 3-0 after 3. The Dolphins would tie the game in the bottom of the 4th inning. That one misses badly behind the plate. It's now 3-2. So Thomas Martin delivered with a 2-run double to make it a 1-run game. Vincent Weigel would tie the game with an RBI single. And the bottom of the 5th, the Dolphins would take the lead on a sacrifice fly from A.J. Vigliotti. 3-2 from Bonvini here. And just fouled off at a very long at-bat so far being forced by Agramonte. The Dolphins had a 4-3 lead going into the bottom of the 8th. They would get 2 runs on a 2-run homer for Thomas Martin to put them up 6-3. They would then get 2 more in the inning to get them the 8-3 cushion, and that would be the final of the game. As that one is swung on a miss for strike 3. Agramonte down swinging to open up this one, and there's one away here in the first. An extensive at-bat right there between Agramonte and Bonvini. But it's Bonvini that wins the battle. He records the first out of this game. It brings up the right fielder Alex Jones. He hits this one foul. After him, get to the lineup for the Lions in just a moment. It's going to be an 0-1 for Bonvini here. That one hit up the middle and threw for a base hit. Alex Jones is on with a 1-out single, as we have the first hit of the game right there recorded by Lincoln. And that'll bring up Jalen Greenidge, who gets the start once again at first base. Following him will be the designated hitter plus pitcher. That would be Jaden Greenidge. The Greenidge who got the home run in Game 1 not only will be the pitcher in this one, in Game number 2, but he also will be the designated hitter. That one fouled. Count 0-1. Batting fifth at that short will be Wesley Hogan. Batting sixth and behind the plate is Anthony Burgos. Batting seventh and at second base is number 2, Jeffrey Ascona. As they check the runner at first base, Jones is back in safely. Batting eighth and at third base is number 25, Jalen Gadet. And batting ninth and at center field is number 22, Josh Shepard. So a little bit of a change in the lineup for the Lions. Could be a double play ball here for the Dolphins, I should say. But a great play by Rodriguez. And an even better scoop at first base from Thomas Martin. 2 away now down in the inning. I'll bring up Jaden Greenidge, as I mentioned, with his home run in Game number 1. Got to look in a second at the replay of that play from Rodriguez. So a lot of good defensive plays in Game 1 between these two teams. Rodriguez made a couple good plays in the field. So Bigliotti makes a couple scoops at first base. So Thomas Martin just make one there recently. Michael Palermo in right field with 2 diving catches. Both saving extra base hits. This is that previous play from the Dolphins defense. That one goes into the backstop. That'll be a wild pitch. Jones will reach third safely. As Greenidge now will have the runner at third base and still 2 away. In the first 3 games of this series, the Lions have taken the lead first. Game 1, they led 1-0. Game 2, they led 2-0. Game 3, they led 3-0. They're looking to lead for the 4th straight game and strike first early. Ground ball, and they will strike first. That one is through for a base hit. Greenidge is on with an RBI single, and it's 1-0 Lincoln. For the 4th straight game, the Lions jump out first with the early run. As Greenidge gets another RBI to his belt here today. 3 in Game 1, now 1 here in Game number 2. As he gives his team now an early 1-0 lead here in the top of the first. He'll be checked out at first base from Bonvini, but he's back in safely. As Wesley Hogan now is the batter for Lincoln. Check him again. Here goes the first pitch. Now one hit into dead center. But playable for the center fielder Polomini, and he almost lost it in the sun, but he is able to make the catch and retire the side. Lions do get 2 hits in the inning, as Jaden Greenidge delivers with an RBI single with 2 outs here at the top of the first. We head into the bottom of the first inning. Dolphins coming to bat. Lions lead this one, 1-0. Bottom of the first inning from the CSI Baseball Complex as Michael Keogh will lead it off for the Dolphins. They trail this one early 1-0 on an RBI single for Jaden Greenidge. And speaking of Jaden Greenidge, he is the starter for the Lions here in game number 2. Now again, some of the stats for the Lions are not updated, so cannot really fully give you the lines for Greenwich on the season. For Greenwich, this might be he's going to be his fourth appearance. It's either going to be his fifth or sixth appearance on the season. It will either be his fourth or fifth start. Okay, really tough to tell. With the stats not being updated on the Lincoln website. Counters are now 1-1 to Michael Keogh. We saw Keogh getting the start behind the plate in game number 1. He's in center field here in game number 2. It's a 2-1 count now for him. Or correction, Keogh actually the designated hitter here today. He'll give you the Dolphin lineup now. We have to scramble to get the lineup at the very last minute once again. It's a 2-1 for Keogh here. He takes that one for a strike, 2-2. Keogh will lead off. He's the designated hitter, followed by Burkhead, who's in left field. Following him will be A.J. Vigliotti, who's behind the plate. Chris Polomini will bat fourth and play center field once again. Batting fifth will be Thomas Martin. He's at first. As Keogh hits this one into center, but playable for the center fielder Shepard. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That brings up Brian Burkhead now with one down the inning. Following Martin at first base is batting sixth is Jaden Waterman. He'll be at second. Batting seventh and at third base is Anthony Sotera. Batting eighth and in right field is Michael Palermo. And batting ninth at shortstop is Nico Rodriguez. And Francesco Bonvini, as I mentioned, is the Dolphins' starting pitcher. He got out of the first inning. The Dolphins trailing 1-0. As the count's 1-0. Apologize for that home run screen. For some reason that came up. Came up once again for some reason. Count 1-0. As Burkhead hits that one up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Wesley Hogan. He throws on to first base in time. Nice play by the Lions shortstop Hogan right there. As he was on the run and had to get a quick Burkhead out at first base. And there is now two-way in the inning. Picks up A.J. Vigliotti now with two down. As I mentioned, Vigliotti behind the plate here in game number 2. Started at first base in game number 1. He'll look to try to extend the inning for CSI here. And he hits this one into right in foul territory. And not playable enough as it goes near the Lion bullpen. Count 0-1. The update at softball, they're in the top of the 7th inning. It's still a 3-3 tie between the Dolphins and the Knights. Once that game wraps up and they finish their cleanup at the softball complex, we will be joined by Joe Foreman for the duration of this game here at the baseball complex. Give or take, probably around the 3rd, 4th inning, we'll hear from Joe Foreman for this game. The 0-1 from Greenwich, and there for a strike 0-2. We saw in game 1, Dennis Flores got the start for the Lions, and he pitched a pretty solid game. He allowed 4 runs, 3 of them being earned. Unfortunately, it was just got some bad breaks along the way as Vigliotti down swinging for the strikeout to retire the side. So Jaden Greenwich gets himself a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. His team now heads in the 2nd inning with a 1-0 lead.
The legacy began in 1973. That was the year NCAA Division II was born. And since the very first day, our division has shaped generations of student athletes with a true sense of academics, athletics, and community. That is 5 decades of graduations, championships, teamwork, and personal development. 50 years of shaping student athletes into world-class leaders. NCAA Division II. Our division, our legacy.
Top of the second inning here from the CSI Baseball Complex. A 1-0 lead for the Lions. Jaden Greenidge got himself an RBI single in the top of the first. He was able to get a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the first inning as he is on the mound for the Lions here today. Anthony Burgos with a half swing on that one. No appeal first as the count goes to 1-0. 6, 7, 8 in the inning for the Lions. Burgos, Ascona. And speaking of that, Ascona, I should say Burgos, will reach first base on the hit by a pitch. I was going to say it was going to be Burgos, Ascona, and then Gadet, the 3 batters in the inning. But now with the runner on first, here comes Ascona, and we'll see if he lays down a bunt attempt here. Try to get Burgos into scoring position. He does not. There's a strike 0-1. That one blooped into right field. That one will drop in for a base hit. Jeffrey Ascona is on with a base hit to get the Lions now with first and second and nobody out. I bring up Jalen Gadet. A nice start to the inning for the Lions here. The hit by a pitch got Burgos on first, and then he gets into second base on the single right there from Ascona. And Thomas Mara now will creep all the way in at first base. Dolphins are expecting a bunt here. And there is the bunt. And that one goes foul. Wow, that's a first. The ball actually did not make contact with the bat. So that's going to be a pass ball that allows both runners again to score in position. Now the Dolphins will have the entire infield in. It looked like it was fouled off on the bunt attempt. No bunt to here shown by Gadet, and he takes a strike 0-2. So early on, dangerous spot for the Dolphins. Second and third, nobody out. Already trailing by a run. The infield all the way in. The 0-2 to Gadet. Misses inside for a ball, 1-2. So the pass ball allows both runners to get into scoring position. Can the Lions take advantage and get 2 runs on the board and take a 3-0 lead? The 1-2. Misses on the outside, 2-2 now the count. It'll be now a 2-2 for Bonvini here. And that one is in for a called strike 3. And a huge out number 1 recorded by the Dolphins starter as he gets Gadet to look on that one. Brings up Josh Shepard now with 1 away. Still second and third for the Lions. Infield still in for the Dolphins as that one's hit behind the plate foul, 0-1. After Shepard, it's back to the top of the lineup for Lincoln. Agramonte on deck. It'll be an 0-1 from Bonvini. It misses on the outside. Count 1-1. Now, I'm not sure why the home run thing is coming up all the time. Apologize for that graphic showing up. It's a weird sequence that's going on right now with our production truck. That one hit the third. Great play by Satera. They'll get the double play. And the Dolphins escape 2 second and third. Nobody out in the inning. And they get a 5 unassisted double play to retire the side. We'll get a second look on the replay before we head into commercial break. Great heads-up play by the Dolphin third baseman Satera, and that plays dividend to the Dolphins also playing the infield in on that sequence. to get them out of that jam. As the Lions strand 2 runners here in the top of the second, they head into the bottom of the second, still leading this one, 1-0.
G Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, Opus Plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information.
Chris Polomini will lead off in the bottom of the second. He's still 1-0 lead for the Lions as the Dolphins escaped major disaster in that previous half inning. Polomini goes first pitch swinging, but hits that one foul. Second and third, nobody out in the inning. Francesco Bonvini was able to get himself out of the jam without giving up a run. So Anthony Sotero got a double play, 5 unassisted, to get the final 2 outs of that. The top of the second. Count now 0-2 to Polomini. Certainly has been a long day, as I'm having trouble with my numbers early on. It's now 0-2 to Polomini from Greenidge. That one hit into right field. Long run for Jones. This one takes a one bounce off the wall. Polomini rounds first. He will head into second standing with a leadoff double. Dolphins get their first hit of the game on that double from Polomini. And the tying run now into scoring position for CSI. That brings up Thomas Martin, who had a monster game number 1 for CSI. Martin with a 2-run double and a 2-run homer. 4 RBIs on the day. Tally for half of the Dolphin runs in that one. Got a runner in scoring position to start off here. Takes that one for a ball 1-0. Second look at the Chris Polomini double. I think if we had the win from yesterday, that might be a case for a opposite field home run for Polomini right there. Win still playing a factor, though, here today. As Martin hits that one foul. Count now 1-1 on the Dolphin first baseman. He was the DH in game number 1. We're going to do some work here once again. The 1-1 misses inside, and the count now goes to 2-1. Update from the softball complex. Queens has taken now a 7-3 lead on the Dolphins. They're in the top of the 7th. Here comes the 2-1. And now a miss for ball 3. So Martin now has a 3-1 count. Greenwich now is in danger of putting the go-ahead run on base. It'll be now a 3-1 for the Dolphin first baseman Martin. He hits this one a mile high, behind the plate, and out of reach, foul. They actually might be done at softball. I'm not sure if the game is final. From the live stats that I'm looking at, it says they're in the top of the 8th, which obviously is not the case. So they might be done at softball. I'll have to take a look. In just a moment, there goes the runner Polomini. He'll have to go back to second, as Martin was hit by the pitch, I think. Regardless, the count was 3-2. So Jaden Waterman will come up with first and second. Still nobody out in the inning. Could be a prime bunt spot for the Dolphins here. Waterman again to start at second base for CSI. Let's see if they do in fact bunt him. They do have first base in. Greenwich is in at first. They do let Waterman swing away. It's a pop-up to right, and the play will be made by the second baseman Ascona as he had to travel back on that one, and there's now one away in the inning. Now bring up Anthony Sotera. If I have a chance, I'll take a look at the softball field and see if they are done. That one on the outside for a strike, 0-1. The 0-1. Foul behind the plate, 0-2. Now, I would assume the game is not over, because I do hear music being played at the softball complex. So they must be still going on. Just not sure exactly what inning they are in. If I see any update, I'll let everyone know. Counts 0-2 to Sotera here. Try to get the Dolphins back into this game and tie it. That one skips in the dirt. Polomini's going to third. He will get in there safely. And now advancing to second base. It was Thomas Martin, so the Dolphins will have second and third now. One away. And Sotera can get a base hit into the outfield. He'll give the Dolphins the lead. They've been able to fight their way back from deficits in all 3 of their first games with the Lions. Can they take the lead once again? It'll be a 1-2 to Sotera. And he hits that one foul down the right field line. Michael Palermo on deck for the Dolphins. First base is now open for the Lions. So we'll do it again on 1-2 for Sotera here. Sotera hits this one down the right field line, but Greenwich will make the catch. And it will not be deep enough to bring the runner home from third and Polomini. And there's now 2 away. And I'm being told that softball did end. Final score 7-3. Knights take game 2. So CSI splits the doubleheader with Queens College. So I will be joined by Joe Foreman once he is done up at softball cleaning up there. For now, we're back here at baseball. A 1-0 lead for Lincoln. Second and third, 2 away from Michael Palermo. As I mentioned earlier, made some great defensive plays in right field. 2 diving catches. preventing 2 extra base hits from the Lions. One of those being an RBI extra base hit. Can he deliver a base hit for the Dolphins here and give them their first lead of the game? He swings and misses on that one. Count 1-1. Jaden Greenidge now has a 1-1 count on the Dolphin right fielder Palermo. And he'll hit that one foul down the left field line. Count 1-2. So now 1-2 count for Palermo here. Trying to extend the inning for the Dolphins as they look to get on the board in this one. The 1-2. That one chopped to second. Ascona plays it on the hop. He'll throw it on to Greenidge in time for the final out of the inning. So the Dolphins do strand 2 runners here in the bottom of the second as they now head into the top of the third inning. Lincoln leads this one 1-0.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Miguel Agramonte will lead it off here in the top of the third inning as Lincoln still has a 1-0 lead. Agramonte fouls out one behind the plate 0-1. Both teams had second and third opportunities in the last inning, but both teams were not able to bring home a run, keeping this a 1-run lead for Lincoln here in the top of the third. That one in there for a strike, now 0-2. The 0-2 from Bonvini misses out on the outside, 1-2. 1-2-3, top of the order for the Lions here in the top of the third. Agramonte, Jones, and Greenidge. They look to add on to their lead. They know certainly no lead has been safe so far for them, unfortunately, in this series. The 1-2. Once again, hit foul behind the plate, still 1-2. So we'll do it once again here. 1-2 for Agramonte. Lion left fielder looking to lead it off here. The 1-2 from Bonvini. That one hit up the middle. Waterman makes the dive, but he'll have no play at first base. Great hustle and attempt from Waterman on that one. But that'll be an infield single for Agramonte to lead off the top of the third. That'll be the 4th hit now of the game for Lincoln. Pretty much no man's land right there. That ball was hit. Really no chance for Waterman to even make an attempt on that one. So good job by him to hold on to the ball. Brings up Alex Jones. Takes that one inside for a ball, 1-0. A lot of laughter to my room to the left. I wonder what's happening. What's going on? Count now 1-1. As Jones swung and a miss on that one. Bonvini checks the runner at first. Agramonte back in safely. Get a couple pizzas, Marquise. So I had a lot left over. We brought one to Joe at softball. Had a couple slices here for us up in the baseball press box. As Jones now down the count 1-2. Now I'd offer you a headset, Marquise, but I don't have the headsets. Joe has them at softball. Once he gets back up here, feel free to take a headset if you want to get on the call. As long as you're impartial. It's now count 2-1. That one hit the third right at Cetera. He throws it back to first, though, and it gets past Martin. That will allow Agramonte to go to second. He will think about going to third, but he will hold up at second base. So Cetera does get the out at first, but there is an error on the play on the throw from Cetera to first base. So a costly one right there for the Dolphins. Puts now Agramonte in scoring position. So that will go down as an E5 for CSI right there. Once again, Cetera was in the right place at the right time. Just unfortunately made an ill-advised throw. That one's in there for a strike, 0-1. Agramonte on second. Greenidge is the batter. They will check on Agramonte, but he's back in safely. Jalen Greenidge, the first baseman for Lincoln. An RBI opportunity right here. Try to extend his team lead to 2. Does have right center field wide open if possible, but Waterman will close that gap. As the count goes to 1-1. Good play behind the plate from Vigliotti to keep him from going to the backstop. It'll be a 1-1 now for Bonvini. That one misses low for a ball, 2-1. It's now a 2-1 count for Bonvini. First base is open for the Dolphins. Checks the runner at second. Here's the pitch. That one hit into left center field. That's a base hit. It will drop down. Agramonte's rounding third. He will hold up at third base. As Burkhead got the throw into the cutoff man Rodriguez. It's a base hit for Jalen Greenidge, almost a Jaden Greenidge, who's the current batter now at the plate. And is responsible for the lone run in this game with that RBI single coming in the first inning. His brother Jalen just got on with the base hit. Gives Lincoln now first and third. Still only 1 out in the inning. Double play ball would be very nice for CSI if they can get it right here. See if Jalen runs at first base. He does not. And a good scoop behind the plate from Vigliotti. It's in there for a ball, 1-0. If not for that cutoff by Rodriguez, have to wonder if they would have sent Agramonte home. Thought about it originally. Was held up at third. That one chopped right off of maybe the shin of Greenidge right there. He has to walk that one off. That one definitely stung. Count goes to 1-1. Greenidge has been responsible for all 4 runs for the Lions today. The 3-run homer in Game 1. The RBI here in Game number 2. Looking to add another RBI right here. If he can get something in play. He's got a 1-1 count with 1 away. First and third for the Lions. A nice breaking ball from Bonvini's in there for a strike, 1-2. So Bonvini a strike away from a huge second out. And he does get that second out as Greenidge is down in front swinging for the second out of the inning. A huge punch out from Bonvini right there to get a good batter at Jaden Greenidge out. It'll be up to Wesley Hogan now to try to bring home the runner from third. We saw in the last inning for the Lions, they had second and third, nobody out. They were not able to bring home a run. They are now in danger of not bringing home a run once again in this spot as Bonvini checks Greenidge over at first base back in safely. Lions shortstop trying to add to the team lead to give him a 2-0 lead potentially. There goes Greenidge. Vigliano will throw to second. It takes a bounce. Waterman now will have to throw it home. Do they get the out at the plate? They do not. The low throw will hurt the Dolphins in that spot. It's now a 2-0 lead for Lincoln as they get good heads-up base running on that one. A very tough play right there for the Dolphins. Go right ahead, Marquise. You can take as many slices as you want. No one's going to stop you. There's a swing and a miss for a strike. Count now 1-1 for Hogan. Yeah, they hit the spot. Especially after calling one game by yourself. Definitely hit the spot. Count 1-1 for Hogan. That one in there for a strike, now 1-2. Second look at the last play, the steal at second base that led to the run being scored at home. Giving Lincoln now a 2-0 lead. Now 1-2 count for Hogan here. And almost hits Hogan on that one. He has to lean out of the way. It's count now 2-2. Count now 2-2 for Hogan. Lions now with a 2-0 lead. And they'll check the runner at second, but he's back in safely. It'll be a 2-2 again. They again will check the runner. Lions are looking for a potential balk on that one, but to no avail. Greenidge on second, 2 away in the inning. 2-0 lead for the Lions. Count is 2-2. That one hit into left center field. That one is in for a base hit. Greenidge will round third. He will score. They will hold up Hogan at first base. Wesley Hogan is on with a 2-out RBI single. And Lincoln, for the second straight game, leads this one 3-0. The sixth hit now of the game for the Lions early on in this one. Anthony Burgos is now the batter. And for the second straight game, as I mentioned, it's an early 3-0 lead for the Lions. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead after the third inning in game number 1. They now have a 3-0 lead here in the third inning here in game number 2. Anthony Burgos, the batter. He'll take that one for a ball, 1-0. One 0 for Bonvini. Fouled off toward the Dolphin dugout. 1-1. Hogan, the runner at first with 2 away in the inning. It's now a 3-0 lead for the Lions. As Burgos hits that one foul toward the bullpen. Now 1-2. So it's now a 1-2 count here for Burgos. And Bonvini gets the off-speed pitch and gets him on the breaking ball for strike 3 to retire the side. So Bonvini does get himself out of the inning, but not before the Lions attack for 2 more runs here in the third. We head into the bottom of the third inning. CSI trails this one, 3-0.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Bottom of the third inning, and now 3-0 lead for the Lions of Lincoln University. Nico Rodriguez will lead it off for CSI. As Jaden Green's first pitch misses outside for a ball, 1-0. 9-1-2 for the Dolphins in the inning. Rodriguez, Keogh, and Burkhead. So that one hit down the right field line in foul territory. And heads up, if you're in the bleachers, that one could have been dangerous. That came very close to hitting someone. Count now 1-1. Should be joined by Joe Foreman in just a few moments. They're back from the softball complex as that one's in there for a strike. 1-2 now the count. The 1-2 here from Greenidge is on the outside corner for strike 3. Rodriguez down looking to start the bottom of the third. 1 away. He's on Michael Keogh. Michael Keogh now up with 1 away. And the starter designated hitter once again for the CSI in this one. That one in there for a strike, 0-1. Here goes Greenidge's 0-1 to Keogh. That one in there for a strike, quickly 0-2. Dolphins got their rally in game number 1 here in the bottom of the third. They'll look to do it once again here. Keogh down 0-2. And that one misses on the outside, 1-2 now the count. It'll be now 1-2 from Greenidge here. Now one hit into right toward the bleachers once again. And it'll be foul once again. Count remains 1-2. So do it again here for Keogh. 1-2 is the count. Dolphin designated hitter trying to get the Dolphins their first base runner in this inning. They have just one hit so far to this inning. That one chopped to third. Greenidge will make the play. Correction, that's not Greenidge at third base. I usually am used to him at third. The call at first base was out. As the play at third was made by Gadet. And there's now 2 away in the inning. Ryan Burkhead now up with 2 outs. Looked like there was confusion at first base when that play was made. But the out was called. So now 2 outs in the inning for Burkhead. Burkhead trying to extend the inning for CSI. As that one misses on the inside for a ball 1-0. Got a whole party going on in the room next door to me at PA. It's about 7 people in that room. The 1-0. That one hit behind us, heads up. Not sure where that ball was going for a second. I thought maybe it was going towards the windows here. Thankfully, they're closed. But we don't need any more scares from foul balls being hit towards the press box. Count now is 1-1 to Burkhead. That one in there for a strike now, 1-2. It's now a 1-2 count from Greenidge to the Dolphin left fielder Burkhead here. He looks for a 1-2-3 third. Down the third base line, foul, remains 1-2. Do it once again here, a 1-2. Burkhead trying to extend the inning for CSI, bring up Vigliotti on deck. And he'll let that one foul towards the bleachers. Another 1-2 pitch coming up here from Greenidge to Burkhead. 2 away down here in the third. That one hit to first. Greenidge is there. He will step on the bag and retire the side. As the Dolphins go down 1-2-3 here at the bottom of the third, we head to the top of the fourth. Lincoln leads this one, 3-0.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Jeffrey Ascona will lead it off here at the top of the fourth. A 3-0 lead still for the Lions. Francesco Bonvini back out for CSI as that one's fouled, and it's now 0-2. The 0-2. That one swung on a miss. And now the count's 0-2. Or should say 1-2 now. As in the inning, it will be 8-9-1 coming up for the Lions. Correction, 7-8-9 coming up in the inning for Lincoln. Now it misses for a ball, now 2-2. It'll be Ascona leading it off, followed by Gadet, then followed by Shepard. Ascona here now has a 2-2 count. And that one's on the outside corner for strike 3. So Bonvini does get the first out of the inning on a punch out. Gets Ascona to look on that one on the outside corner. One away here in the 4th. Jalen Gadet now the batter for Lincoln. He'll take that one for a strike, 0-1. The 0-1. Misses high for a ball, 1-1 now the count. One now the count to Gadet here. He's getting the start at third base for Lincoln in game number 2. So he's up in the count now, 2-1. The 2-1. Misses low in the dirt for ball 3. Gadet now has a 3-1 lead on the count. So it'll be a 3-1 for Bonvini coming up. Shepard on deck for the Lions. The 3-1. And that one misses for ball 4. So Gadet is on with a 1-out walk.
Now that number 22, Josh Shepard.
Josh Shepard now the batter for Lincoln. Getting the start in center field here in game number 2. As they check the runner at first base. Gadet's back in safely. First pitch swinging was Shepard on that one. Foul tips it behind the plate. 0-1 the count. That one ripped into left field. It's a base hit. It will fall in front of Burkhead. That will hold the runner at second. As Josh Shepard is on with a 1-out single. And now it's first and second coming up for Lincoln. Still 1 out in the inning. As they go back to the top of the lineup as Miguel Agramonte comes up to the plate.
Now batting, number 28, Miguel Agramonte.
So a major chance for Lincoln to extend this lead. They have a 3-0 lead so far here in the top of the 4th. Monte looking to add to the team lead. First and second, still only 1 out. He hits this one behind the plate foul. Count now goes to 0-1. Bonvini checks the runner at second. He's got an 0-1 count with 1 away in the inning. Now misses low inside. 1-1 now the count. Martin originally was in at first base for a potential bunt attempt, but now will move back into his regular defensive alignment. 1-1 from Bonvini. Swung on and missed from Agramonte, as it looked like he was maybe a little bit behind on that one. And the count goes to 1-2. So Bonvini looking for a huge strikeout here to get the second out of the inning. He tries to keep this game within 3 runs. Here's the 1-2. Misses badly behind the plate and behind Agramonte. That will allow both runners to advance 1 base. And for the second time in this game, a wild pitch will allow Lincoln to have second and third in the inning. And that will now force the Dolphins infield to come in and make sure that the run does not score of third base. So second and third now, 1 out for Agramonte. He still has a 2-2 count. And is looking to deliver 2 more runs for Lincoln here to give them a potential 5-0 lead. 2-2 from Bonvini. Hit to first and right at the glove of Thomas Martin. We saw a double play happen the last time that instance happened for CSI. And Martin makes a quick reaction on that one with the infield in to make the catch and record the second out of the inning. So Bonvini is now 1 out away from escaping the jam. It'll be up to the right fielder, Alex Jones, to try to keep the inning going for Lincoln right here. First pitch to Jones. In there for a strike, 0-1. Cadet at third, Shepard at second. Jones is the batter for the Lions here with 2 away in the inning, and they lead 3-0. The 0-1. Swung on a miss again, and it's quickly 0-2. Bonvini throwing with gas now in these last couple of pitches. He's bowling them right past Jones, and he's 1 strike away from escaping the jam, as that one misses inside for a ball, 1-2. 1-2 now is the count. Alex Jones trying to get 2 more runs on the board for Lincoln here, the 1-2. He'll foul that one behind the plate. Remains a 1-2. So we'll do it again here. 1-2 for Bonvini to the right fielder, Jones. Here comes the 1-2. That one hit up the middle and through for a base hit. As Polomini could not make the play, it goes under his glove and it will allow Jones to get into second base standing. So that will be a 2-run single, an error as well, leading Jones to get to second base. And it's now a 5-0 lead for the Lions. CSI once again was 1 strike away from getting themselves out of this jam. But this time around would not work in their favor.
Number 12, Jalen Greenidge.
That'll go down as the second error of the game for CSI. And that might also lead to a pitching change here. It does look like we're having potential pitching change. I'm not sure if we will or not. I'm not sure, and it does look like, if you look in right field, Michael Palermo is laying down, and it looked like he got hurt maybe on that play. He was the one that threw the ball in after Polomini missed it as it went under his glove. He kind of seems to be leaning towards his throwing arm. And they were signaling for him to come in to make sure if he was okay, but he stays into the outfield, so it's now a 5-0 lead for Lincoln. They jump out in front for the 4th straight time in this series. So that one's fouled off. 1-1 now the count. I mentioned they took the lead in Game 1, 1-0. Game 2, they led 2-0. Game 1 of the doubleheader today, they led 3-0. And they now lead here game number 4. Second game of this doubleheader here today, 5-0 in the top of the 4th inning. Dolphins will once again have to come back from an early deficit. So misses for a ball, 2-1. Eight hits now in the game as well for Lincoln through 4 innings. Looking to attack for another one right here. It's Greenidge with a half swing. So they call the ball on that one, and they did. It's 3-1 now the count. After Jalen Greenidge will be Jaden Greenidge on deck. First base is open for Bonvini. The count 3-1. And now a misses inside for ball 4. So Greenidge will reach with a 2-out walk. Brings up Jaden Greenidge now. And I would tend to think this has got to be the last batter Bonvini might face in this game, especially if Greenidge is able to get himself an extra base hit. Dolphins have double action up in their bullpen as well. And they're hoping that Bonvini can get the final out of this game before it gets even further. The Dolphins trailing in this one. That one hit to third and through for a base hit. 1 run will score for the Lions. That will allow Greenidge to go to second. And it's now a 6-0 lead for Lincoln, as it looks like that went under the glove of Satera on that line drive into left field. And that will certainly do it now for Francesco Bonvini here in the 4th inning, as he just was not able to record that final out necessary for CSI. And now it's a 6-0 lead with the Dolphins making a pitcher change. We'll check one more time here on the replay. That previous base hit for Greenidge, giving him a single and an advance into second on the throw into the infield. But for now, we'll take a break. We'll tell you who the new Dolphin pitcher is as well. I'll be joined by my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, who is here from softball. Dolphins trail this one, 6-0.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
And we are back here for the top of the 4th inning. Still a 6-0 lead for Lincoln. The day is over now for Francesco Bonvini. In comes Dennis Kelly, who will be making his 5th appearance of the year. He's pitched 6 1/3 so far in the season, has allowed 6 hits, 8 runs, 7 of those earned, 8 walks, 4 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .300 against him, and he has an ERA of 9.95. But, as I mentioned before we went to break, I am now rejoined for the first time today by my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, who just finished up at softball.
Thank you, Nick. We had a good doubleheader over at the softball diamond today. The Dolphins picked up their 3rd consecutive conference win to begin conference play this year in Game 1 with a 2-0 victory. Game 2 was tied at 3 until the top half of the 7th, when the Knights scored 4 times. The Dolphins would go on to lose that game by a final of 7-3. Quick breakdown, and that brings me here in time for the top half of the 4th inning, right about when we said I'd make it.
Right. You got it just in time. As Wesley Hogan hits this one into center field. Long run for Polamini. It falls in front of him for a base hit. 1 run will score. Hogan will stay at first base on the 2-run single. And it's now an 8-0 lead for Lincoln on that one. It's been a rough start in this inning for CSI, Joe.
Yeah, and that's a really tough break for the Dolphins right there. Kelly ran that pitch inside. He was able to get the jam shot on that swing. And the wind blowing in certainly didn't help, as it takes me about 2 minutes to mention the wind factor. But that ball was definitely knocked down as it was traveling out towards center field. It falls for a hit, 2 more runs score, and all of a sudden the Lions have broken this game wide open, 8-0. However, Nick, if we learned anything, it's that the Dolphins can certainly put up some runs, especially against this Lincoln pitching staff. Historically, they've done well, and that trend continued yesterday.
And we see now that they trailed this one 8-0. Now, I mentioned earlier that the Dolphins have come back from deficits in each of the games that they played so far against the Lions, but this will certainly be a tall task for them to come back from this 8-run deficit. Still early in the game. They still have a couple innings to work with and try to get back from it, but they really need to first get out of this inning and keep it within 8, and then start to try to chip away in these next couple of half innings. As Des Kelly's next pitch is fouled by Anthony Burgos, and the count goes to 0-2.
What I'll try and do between innings as well is get the box score from Game 1 uploaded to the web, so we have that to refer to. Live stats not working up here in the box.
You powered through in Game 1. You got through it somehow.
It is tough without the live stats,
It is
Nick.
tough.
It is really tough.
It is very
tough.
tough.
You need live stats.
You have to go off of mental memory. So that one's popped up in the air in right center. Waterman is under it, and he will make the catch to record the final out of the inning. But not before the Lions attack for 5 runs here in the top of the 4th. We head into the bottom of the 4th inning. Lincoln leads this one 8-0.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Bottom of the 4th inning here at the CSI Baseball Complex, and now a 8-0 lead for Lincoln as they attack for 5 runs in the 4th inning. The offense will look for another rally. They've had 3 so far in the first 3 games of this 4-game series. AJ Vigliotti will lead it off, and he will lead it off with his base hit into left center field. Vigliotti goes first pitch swinging and gets the Dolphins their second hit of the game. Chris Polamine, now the batter for CSI coming up. The Dolphins want to get a rally going and get back into this one. They would certainly love to do it if they could do it all with nobody out in the inning. That second hit of the game provided by Vigliotti, the man that got the first hit of the game for CSI, is up to the plate of Chris Polamine. He takes that one for a strike 0-1. Second look at the last hit for Vigliotti into left center field as he went first pitch swinging to get the Dolphins started here in the 4th. The 0-1. Misses low and outside. 1-1 now to count. Jaden Greenidge looking to maintain this 8-0 lead for his Lions. They try to avoid a 4-game sweep. Here comes the 1-1. Now one chopped down the third base line. It does stay fair. And there will be no play. That will go down as an infield single. So the Dolphins are the beneficiary of an infield single right there. And Thomas Martin now comes up with first and second, still nobody out in the inning. Tough play at third base as well for Gaudette. Would have been a long throw to first base to try to get Polomini out. As Martin hits this one foul, 0-1. Martin got the Dolphins started with 4 runs in game 1. Big blow coming in the 8th inning with a 2-run homer. Dolphins would love an extra base hit here, Joe. With first and second, still nobody out in the inning.
No question about it, Nick. The Dolphins have a lot of work to do in this game, but still plenty of time. Keep in mind, this game, a 9-inning game, so still plenty of outs to play with.
Count 0-1 here from Greenidge to Martin. And that one's there for a strike now, 0-2.
All right, so we have our box score from Game 1 uploaded to the web.
All right.
Thomas Martin, 2 for 4, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored in Game 1.
I'll make a comment in a second about what happened with Martin in Game 1 as well. As he hits this one to left field, that one is through for a base hit. They will hold Vigliotti at third, and number 33 will deliver the third hit of the inning for the Dolphins right there. And they now have the bases loaded, still nobody out.
Can't ask for a better start to the inning if you're the Dolphins. The first 3 batters all reach base, and now perhaps the biggest opportunity of his Dolphins career for Jaden Waterman as he will come to bat with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Now, Joe, in Game 1, when Thomas Martin delivered the 2-run double to make it a 1-run game, I almost forgot to say number 33 delivered the third hit for CSI. It took me a couple minutes to realize that was the third Dolphin hit of the game.
Did it plate the third run?
It did not. It played 2 runs. The first 2 runs of the game for CSI.
First.
He would score the third run. So
he would score the third
run. He
run.
scored the third run of the game on the RBI single from Vincent Weigel.
Love to hear it.
4 RBI game in game number 1. Jaden Waterman, the batter, with bases loaded. He's down in the count 0-1. He hits this one to left, and this one is through for a base hit. 1 run will score. Polomini is going to score as well. It's a 2-run single for Waterman. They go to third, and it's safe. How about the base running on that one, Joe? As Waterman will also get into second base safely as well, and it's now an 8-2 game.
The Dolphins could not have executed any better on that sequence. First, Waterman comes through with the bases loaded single. Then, after 2 runs had already scored, Thomas Martin made a great read on the throw home. There was not anybody covering third initially. It was a foot race to the bag. Martin slid in safely just beneath the tag. Behind the throw to third, in an attempt to get Martin out, Jaden Waterman advances to second. Well done by the Dolphins on all fronts. It is now a 6-run game with 2 in scoring position. Still nobody out. Anthony Sotera with another RBI opportunity.
And he would love to get both runners home if he can get something into the outfield with a single. So that one's in the dirt for a ball, 1-0.
Sotera tripled home 3 yesterday. And you said it before, Nick. The Dolphins have trailed in each of these games against Lincoln.
I was making a point earlier. I said they trailed 3-0 at the end of at the start of Game 3. It was 2 at Game 2 and 1 in Game 1. I was hopeful they wouldn't be 4-0, but it was 8-0 in this one. So that one's hit the second. Escoda will go to first base on that one. That will bring home the run, as Martin will score on the ground out, and it's now 8-3.
Sotera did what he needed to there, hit a ground ball to the right side. And with the middle infielders back, the Lions rightfully concede the run. They get the first out of the inning, and it's now 8-3.
I think for CSI, they can bring home Waterman from third. They're able to score half of their runs in this inning. That would be crucial for them trying to get back into this game. Michael Palermo now the batter. And that one goes behind the backstop. Here comes Waterman. He will score on the wild pitch. It is now 8-4. Lincoln on that wild pitch right there.
Wild pitches, passed balls, and errors have afforded extra bases throughout the entirety of this 4-game series over the last 2 days between these two teams. Unfortunately for Lincoln, they've been on the wrong side of many of those, and right there, it bites them yet again as Waterman comes in to score. And just like that, in no more than about 5 minutes, the Lions' lead has been cut in half from 8.
And that's crucial for the Dolphins to get back into this game. Still halfway point of this one, considering this is a 9-inning game. Now making it a 4-run contest as the 1-0 to Palermo misses high and outside 2-0. So really now for the Dolphins, if they can keep going in this inning, obviously they can get further back into this game. But even if they only get the 4 runs, that gets them back into this game pretty well, and they will obviously need their pitching the rest of the way to keep it within reach. As Palermo takes that one for a strike now, 2-1.
Well, the Dolphins didn't have to use much bullpen yesterday, and that bodes well. Earlier in the week against Mercy, Antonio Gautreau, 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. You'd presume he'd be available today.
That one misses low and inside, 3-1 now the count. And they didn't have to use another reliever today. They only used 1 reliever in game number 1. Obviously, they used 1 here in game number 2. But they've done a good job of maintaining and holding on to their bullpen relievers so far. 3-1 from Greenidge, just swung on a miss from Palermo. And it's now a full count, 3-2.
It's been very rare, but in game 1, the bottom third of the Dolphins' order, Cetera, Palermo, Rodriguez with an 0-for. They combined to go 0-for-7 at the plate. Did draw 3 walks between the 3 of them.
3-2 from Greenidge. Just misses on the outside corner for ball 4. And Palermo is on first base with 1 away.
And that will bring up Nico Rodriguez. Rodriguez picked up an RBI in the early game. Did draw 2 of those 3 walks out of the bottom third of the lineup. And he's been phenomenal for the Dolphins so far in his freshman season, not only at the plate, but with the glove.
And expect to see Palermo at first base as well, who had a great game in game number 1 defensively as well, as Rodriguez tries to steal on this first pitch. He'll stay for now as Rodriguez hits this one down the third baseline foul. 0-1 the count.
Well, the Dolphins ran rampant on the base paths yesterday, especially once they got into the Lions' bullpen. Just a single stolen base for CSI in game 1 today.
And we'll see, maybe they try to do a hit and run. We saw a couple of instances in game number 1 of this doubleheader today with the Dolphins executing hit and runs. Let's see if they try it again as they check Palermo at first. He just got back in safely. He did get caught on a pickoff in game number 1 earlier today. So trying to avoid that once again here in game 2. Rodriguez down the count 0-1. He's now down the count 0-2 as that one's on the outside.
And you have to think with how easily the Dolphins were able to steal bases yesterday, that lends toward maybe cheating a little bit more off the bases in this game and trying to gain a few extra inches, maybe an extra foot with that lead, and of course that can lead to those pickoffs.
Greenidge now up in the count 0-2 here. As that one's in the dirt. Good job by Burgos to keep it in front of him as it holds Palermo at first base. Right now, no action going on in the Lion bullpen. Doesn't seem to be any action going up in the Dolphin bullpen as well. Greenidge now has a 1-2 count as he checks Palermo out of first base. There goes Palermo. And it's going to be a hit and run once again. That will save a double play. Hogan will throw it to first. And a great scoop at first base from Greenidge to retire the out there. There's now 2 away.
And that's a huge play by Greenidge over at first base. And nicely handled by Hogan over at short as well. He had the runner coming right at him. The ball was hit toward the middle. It took a bit of a weird hop at the end as well. Hogan handled that. The throw was low, but Greenidge scooped it. And if he doesn't, the Dolphins may have had 2 in scoring position once again.
And we've seen a lot of good defensive plays from these 2 teams here today, considering what happened yesterday in terms of what happened defensively. And these 2 teams have come out to play, Joe, with the flashing of the leather, as that one's in there for a strike 0-1 to Michael Kehoe. So the Dolphins go back to their top of the order. And they would certainly love if Kehoe can keep the inning going and extend it with a potential RBI to make it a 3-run game. Check Palermo at second. The 0-1 from Greenidge. That one hit into right field. Looks playable for Jones. He will make the catch in right field to retire the side. But the Dolphins do get 4 runs in the inning as they do strand the runner at second. We head to the top of the 5th. Lincoln's lead now trimmed to 4. 8-4 Lions.
was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and like have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back for the top of the 5th inning. A 1-1 count. Now it becomes a 2-1 count. Jeffrey Ascona will lead it off in the top of the 5th. A now 4-run lead for Lincoln, as the Dolphins would attack for 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Joe, they are now right back into this game.
No question about it, Nick. And with the Dolphins getting 4 runs, now exactly halfway back, it is even more important for Dennis Kelly returning to the mound to put up a 0 and get his team back to the plate quickly.
That's a soft ground ball to short. Rodriguez will throw it on to first. And they get the out of first base in Ascona, and there's now 1 away.
And if you look at the ball and the way it's been rolling on the infield these last couple of days, it's taken some really tough hops. Infielders have had to wait back a bit more than perhaps you'd expect off the bat. And Rodriguez has handled everything thrown his way masterfully so far during this series.
And we really have seen some good infield work for both of these teams, especially here today. Now I miss for a ball 1-0. Jalen Gadet, the batter here for Lincoln. There is action up in the Dolphin bullpen. Looks like Matthew Polomini is the one that is currently doing some work. I saw him going up and warming up in game number 1. The Dolphins were up 4-3 in the bottom of the 8th. They did not have to use him after that, as they got those extra insurance runs. Count now 3-0 here to Gadet.
We've seen the Dolphins do that a couple of times in this series. We saw it in Game 2 yesterday. The Dolphins led 6-5, 4 big insurance runs in the bottom half of the 6th. They did it again here today after leading 4-3.
As Gadet will work a 4-pitch walk. He's on first base with a 1-out walk. Now I'll bring up Josh Shepard.
Those late insurance runs huge in terms of saving your bullpen during a 4-game series. And Dolphins have seemingly had most of the breaks go in their direction so far against Lincoln these last couple of days.
As the pickoff attempt is unsuccessful. And we saw in that last game, in game number 1 here today, the Dolphins had a unbelievable double play that I certainly haven't seen very often, where it was a bunt attempt in front of the plate. Michael Keogh made a quick reaction to throw to second base to get the out at second, and they were still able to get the double play at first base. That really killed the momentum for Lincoln at that point, considering it was still a 1-run game. So great heads-up defense for the Dolphins right there. Now one swung on a miss from Shepard. He's now down the count 0-2.
There's no rally killer that compares to a double play. It'll slow down even the most ferocious of rallies very quickly. A lot of the time it will end innings. You have a pretty good shot if you're getting 2 outs on a play.
The 0-2 foul behind the plate. That was the weather outside today for softball. Not bad.
Beautiful. I was overdressed for the first time this season.
All right.
So it was really nice.
We'll take that, especially after the wins we had yesterday.
The early start helps.
We're going to go into second base. Throw from Vigliotti. Not in time. As the strikeout is recorded at the plate for the second out of the inning. Going into second base is Gadet. And there's now 2 away from Miguel Agramonte.
Agramonte in the early game was 0 for 4. The Lions with just 6 hits in game 1. The Dolphins with 9.
Number 28, Miguel Agramonte.
That voice sounds very familiar, Joe.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. I haven't called a game that my voice has done the PA for.
You didn't? Well, you
Actually,
were.
I did, but we had Lou in the room next door.
Right.
It seems a bit louder today. And I think the reason for that is we changed our audio input device. So we're using USB audio here. The wires are making everything hang down. I don't trust these $6 Amazon devices, so we need to be
very careful.
Very, very careful, yeah. But it is a bit louder today for the visitors, and I've noticed that. So maybe we'll have to mix the audio again for the home team.
Gotta show everyone some love. Agramonte now has a 3-0 count with that one missed inside. And we still don't know the status of Tuesday. As we know, we have softball on Tuesday, but
I would say it is highly, highly unlikely that we play on Tuesday.
With the weather forecast of next week, where it's supposed to rain anything from Monday to Thursday, doesn't seem like we're going to have any action on Tuesday. As Agramonte works a 4-pitch walk, he's now at first base. Brings up Alex Jones now at first and second, 2 away. And Joe, you get the sense that this is a crucial at-bat for Dennis Kelly right here. Because if he cannot get the out here, it would bring the 3 and 4 hitters, and both Greenages coming up for Lincoln.
It's a huge out, to say the least. And that's a good start to the at-bat with a strike. Now, we saw Jones yesterday hit an opposite field home run.
We've seen 2 first here with the for Lincoln. That one hit the third. Tatera will make the tag, as it did seem like the runner went out of the baseline either way. But a good heads-up play for Tatera to retire the side, as the Lions will strand 2 runners here in the top of the 5th. We head into the bottom of the 5th inning. Dolphins trail this one 8-4.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Bottom of the 5th inning here at the CSI Baseball Complex. It's still an 8-4 lead for Lincoln, as the Dolphins were able to get themselves out of the previous jam. And they will have 2, 3, and 4 here at the bottom of the 5th. Burkhead, Vigliotti, and Polomini. That's Greenwich's 1-0 is on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Well, if the Dolphins are going to chip away further, they have the right hitters coming to the plate to do so.
Brian Burkhead had a 3-hit game in game number 1. Delivered an RBI as well. Sala misses for a ball, 2-1.
So we took a look at the schedule for next week, Nick, and surmised 2 possibilities. I'll elaborate after this pitch.
2-1 now from Greenwich here to Burkhead. It misses on the outside, 3-1.
The first one is incredibly unlikely, assuming the Dolphins can't play against Malloy on Wednesday. Thursday is open. However, they would then be playing 4 straight days, which I'm fairly certain is not allowed.
That one hit into left center field. That one will drop in front for a base hit. Brian Burkhead is on with a leadoff single here at the bottom of the 5th. And for the second straight inning, Joe, the Dolphins will get the leadoff runner on.
Well, after 3 hits in game 1, Burkhead has a hit there. I wish I could tell you how many hits he has in this game, but I could not because we don't have live stats. And I got here about halfway through the game.
I believe that was his first hit.
Okay. So 4 hits on the day for Burkhead. The reason we don't have live stats, even though I'm back, is because the game is being scored and was already saved on a separate computer. I've never had to transfer a Stat Crew game file from one computer to another. I'm not sure if you can, but at this point, we're already halfway through the game. We'll let it go.
Might as well.
Yeah, ideally, we can find another 32-bit computer lying around somewhere and make it a permanent computer up here.
Right.
What we could do, this is actually a very reasonable solution. We have a 32-bit computer tower in my office. So if we took that tower and relocated it here to baseball, it could become the permanent baseball stats computer. I think that's the move.
Could that be the move for next week?
That could be the move.
Okay.
We would need a laptop if we stat a game somewhere else, like the Ferry Hawks. If those games don't overlap with Florida next year, we're good.
Okay.
We'll see. But what I'll do is, first I'll try and find a computer tower that is not already in my office. Maybe there's another one somewhere. And if we can find one that's running 32-bit Windows, we're good to go. Don't even need internet. Though for live stats, we would. That being said, I think one of those computer towers should be able to connect via wired internet up here in the press box. Something to think about for me this week. Now, the first possibility I mentioned, CSI softball on Thursday. We'll elaborate after this at bat.
It's a 3-0 count for Vigliotti here, as Greenwich is in danger of walking him. That one in there for a strike. Vigliotti didn't like the call. Count goes to 3-1.
Vigliotti in game 1, 0 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Struck out twice.
It's now 3-1 for Greenwich here. And they almost get Burkhead at first, but he's back in safely.
That was really close, Nick. That was really close.
Dolphins cannot afford another pickoff attempt that we, as I mentioned earlier. So Palermo get caught stealing at first in game 1. Ground ball to short could be 2, but it's off the glove of Hogan and into center field. Burkhead rounds second. He will get into third safely. And the Dolphins will now have first and third in the inning. Still nobody out.
More good base running there by the Dolphins as Burkhead did not hesitate. Nice sharp turn around second base. He easily goes first to third on a big error. And Hogan, who made a nice play in the previous inning, just botched that one. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. It looked like a routine ground ball, and that was certainly going to be a double play, I would presume. You can never assume on a double play, but looking at that replay, I think it confirms that the Dolphins likely would have had 2 outs on the board if that's handled cleanly.
We saw a couple of times in game 1 also. Both teams had an opportunity to turn a couple of double plays and just were not able to do so. That one popped into center field. Shepard is under it. He will make the catch. Burkhead is tagging from third. Going to be a close play at the plate. Burkhead is safe at the plate. As he got under the tag, a good strong throw from Shepard is not in time, and it's now an 8-5 lead for the Lions on a sacrifice 5 from Chris Polomini.
Well, not a bad situation at all there for the Dolphins. I was taking a look. It looked like Brian Burkhead was a bit slow walking off the field, but CSI will certainly take it, and I thought that Burkhead may have been a bit shaken up following that slide. I was following him into the dugout. But that was a pretty good throw from center field by Shepard. We saw him nearly make a great play on a dive yesterday. And right there, made that play far closer than I expected. His momentum was carrying him towards shallow right center when he caught the ball, and that certainly didn't help when it came to making a stronger throw home.
I wasn't sure they were going to throw it to home either, considering how shallow the fly ball was in right center field. But heads up base running from Burkhead now puts the Dolphins within 3 runs. But, Joe, going back to your point from earlier about softball from next week, you said Thursday was a possibility for one of those options.
I think the more likely option, and this doesn't work for me at all, so I certainly hope this doesn't happen. If it does, there's not much I could do about it now. But the second possibility would be postponing the doubleheader against Bloomfield on the road and playing Malloy on Sunday. That's, of course, assuming Malloy has an opening on Sunday. I don't know. That would be obviously next weekend, not tomorrow.
Martin fouls that one off. The count goes to 1-2.
If that did happen, I'm not even sure we'd have a video stream for that game.
It would be very tough. This very well could be my last broadcast of the week. So I don't think we're going to be able to. I'm not definitely going to not be able to broadcast next week, especially if we have the rain out on Tuesday.
Malloy also has a non-conference game on Sunday, which they could theoretically postpone. So
Thomas Martin hits this one to deep left center field. That might go over the wall, Joe. It will. Another home run to center field. Thomas Martin has his second of the game or of the day, and the Dolphins are now within a run. It's 8-7.
That was a no-doubter, Nick. Martin jumped all over that pitch, and he crushed it to straightaway center field. And I don't think I had ever been in attendance for a home run to center. And Thomas Martin has done it again. And, Nick, you know what the next home run would be? Number 3 on the day for number 33.
Yeah.
Is that your third home run call of the day, Nick?
That is now my third home run call of the day. We had Jaden Greenidge, the pitcher at the mound. He hit a home run into center field as well. Then we saw Thomas Martin hit a home run to left center field, and then Martin hit another one right there.
Yeah, off the bat, Nick. I don't know if you saw me next to you. I
saw it for a second.
I was doing the home run.
I didn't want to jinx it if it wasn't going to be a home run, but absolutely off the bat, it did look like that one gave a good way. The only issue was it was going to dead center field again, which is why I wasn't so certain of it.
The wind today, not as much of a factor as yesterday. Yesterday, it was very, very gusty around the baseball complex.
And how about Jaden Waterman? He gets a single up the middle. And the Dolphin bats have now started to heat up here late in this game. It's now a one-out single for Waterman, and the Dolphins have the tying run on first.
I think the question now becomes how long of a leash do the Lions give Jaden Greenidge? He held the Dolphins scoreless for 3 innings, now 7 runs across the last 2 innings, and that will prompt a conference at the mound.
And for Sotero, he comes up to the plate now, and you got to think, in this scenario, he wants to obviously get on. And think about this also for the Dolphins, Joe. I think by the time you got back up to the booth, they only had 1 hit through the first couple of innings. So maybe that's a good thing. Usually you are usually not on the call and the Dolphins get their hits. Now they are getting their hits when you're on the call.
Well, I think it's my Phillies hat that I'm wearing. I brought over some of that offensive prowess.
How'd they do today? Did they play today?
On top of my head. I don't know if I think they actually did play today because they used the rain date for the home opener yesterday, so I would assume they definitely played.
Did they start already?
That's a good question. Let's get some score updates from around Major League Baseball.
Of course.
While we have a break.
No pitching change as of now for the Lions, so they'll keep Greenidge in. Sotero will be the batter, and the oof does not say anything good about that.
Down 2-0, bottom of the first.
Okay, it's still early.
Still early. The Mets still can't hit.
Seriously? No?
No.
What's the score of that game?
They came back, but they lost. It was 7-2. They lost 7-6.
Well.
So the headline on MLB.com is Hoskins torments Mets at plate. Pitcher ejected after throwing behind him.
There was an ejection in that game because of it. I did see that. It's only 2 games into the season. The Mets already have some bad blood going on right now between the two teams.
I don't think anyone has more animosity toward the Mets than I do. A lifetime Mets fan driven to the dark side.
Waterman just gets back in safely on the pickoff attempt from Greenidge.
I can't tell the story of why I'm not a Mets fan anymore on the air, but if anybody wants to know, they can come ask.
I'm wondering what happened left in the room left to us as well. Cetera will get himself a base hit into right center field. Waterman will round second. He is heading to third. He will get in there safely. And the Dolphins now have the tying run on third base and the go-ahead run now at first base on the base hit from Cetera.
Well, the Lions have had no answer to the Dolphin bats these last 2 innings. And after that last conference at the mound, they get 2 relievers throwing in the bullpen, a lefty and a righty, as Michael Palermo will come to the plate with a chance to tie this score with a fly ball, perhaps, with a base hit, or better. It remains to be seen as the Dolphins have runners on the corners with 1 out. And at this point in the game, Nick, it just seems like every Dolphin that comes to the plate is completely locked in.
And Joe, do you think that Cetera steals? And right on cue, he does steal. Burgos is thrown to second. Will we cut off? Waterman just gets back in safely at third base. So the Dolphins do get the stolen base at second. They now have the go-ahead run in scoring position here for Palermo as he's up in the count 1-0.
Well done there by the Dolphins. Waterman did not stray too far. They were never throwing towards second in an effort to cut down Cetera, as the Lions were concerned first with making sure Waterman didn't break for the plate. Throw was cut off. Dolphins now have 2 in scoring position.
Corners are starting to creep in for Lincoln here. There's a strike now. Count now 1-1.
Those corners in. Very dangerous if Palermo can shoot one down one of the lines.
Greenidge looks at third. He's got a 1-1 count here to Palermo. And Palermo hits this one to left field. That one's a base hit. Cetera's rounding third. He will score. The Dolphins will get 2 more runs, and Palermo will get into second base on the error. He might go to third. He'll have to hold up at second base as a lot of the ball bouncing around in the field for the Lions. But CSI has taken advantage of it, Joe. They have come all the way back from an 8-run deficit and taken a 9-8 lead.
One might say I helped swing momentum in the direction of CSI, Nick. Yeah. I hopped on when the Dolphins made a pitching change back in the top of the 4th inning. And since then, Dolphins have scored 9 runs.
9 unanswered runs for CSI in these last 2 innings.
That's what I like to see if I'm speaking as a fan of the Dolphins. However, I am impartial.
It was funny, when you weren't here, Marquise, I told him I would give you a headset, but I don't have the headsets, but you would have to be impartial if you joined me on the cast.
Yeah, that ship has long sailed. Marquise and impartial just don't go together.
Marquise was enjoying some of the pizza being delivered here as well.
Sure he was.
I know you were as well, but you had some chicken rolls.
Well, I actually had a chicken roll.
A chicken roll.
A chicken roll.
Sorry.
Those halves are half of one chicken roll.
Okay.
Those are actually one chicken roll, which is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you to Chase for bringing us the food as well. Appreciate him for bringing that. So a long way to go in this game as well. Bottom the 5th. It's now a 9-8 lead for CSI after they trailed by 8 runs. As Nico Rodriguez is now down the count 1-2. And for the 4th straight game, Joe, the Dolphins have trailed in early on in this game, and they've been able to come back. It didn't seem like this one was going to be is going to be easy, considering it was 8 runs, but they've managed to do so. They now have this 9-8 lead.
They made it look easy, Nick. 9 runs very quickly.
As Rodriguez down swinging for the second out of the inning. That just shows a testament to this team, that the resilience that they've had. They never give up to the very final out, no matter what the deficit is. Now, still a long way to go in this one, but for Lincoln, they now have to fight their way back into it and try to keep this a 1-run game. Michael Kehoe comes up, and he will be hit by the pitch. So that will extend the inning and bring up Brian Burkhead. And did that hit him in the wrist, Joe? I think it did.
It was either the wrist or the pinky finger. Yeah, Michael was really uncomfortable.
I think it hit him in the wrist.
Yeah, those really sting. In the colder weather, it might sting just a bit more, but fortunately today, not one of those cold days. It looks like Lincoln is ready to make a pitching change. Left-hander coming out of the bullpen for the Lions will be Gio Morales.
So Gio Morales, who got the start in Game 1, is the center fielder, will now come in relief here at the bottom of the fifth. And Joe, now his team trailing 9-8. It's going to be up to him with the lefty-lefty matchup with Burkhead coming up. I don't know if Keogh's going to stay in the game. For now, he's going to head to the dugout, obviously, with the pitching change. We'll have to see if he does stay in. He is in a lot of pain as he runs over to the dugout. But regardless now, his team leads at 9-8. They're obviously hopeful that he can stay in because he obviously plays a huge factor for CSI. Didn't get the start behind the plate in this game, but we know he plays a lot of catcher, can play some center field as well. Doesn't need a hitter here for Game 2, but it'll be a huge presence loss if he has to get taken out.
Number 24, Gio Morales.
So I officially announced Gio Morales to the game, Nick.
You did.
I don't know how clearly my voice comes through on our broadcast.
I think you can pick it up.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think
you can definitely hear something.
Because the levels on here pick it up when an announcement is made, too.
Okay.
So.
I know it's softball they pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't know how clear it is, but it definitely gets picked up. They may have heard me espousing my stats knowledge as well, because what I did in between innings when I had to attend to the stats,
right.
I would leave the microphone unmuted so that everyone could hear the sounds of the game.
Right.
That being said, I'm pretty close to the microphone. Had to keep my real thoughts quiet.
Yeah.
But at one point during the game, one of the Dolphins in the dugout tossed their helmet onto a pile of bags, and they knocked out our power supply.
Really?
I thought our mixer was at it again in terms of the power supply failing, but it was actually the power supply to our entire setup that was knocked out because the scoreboard went off. So we fixed that very quickly. I would say I probably called about between 50 and 60% of that last game down at softball. I missed quite a bit. We had a lot of technical issues and scoring issues and different things that I had to bounce around and help fix.
But hopefully those issues are now all fixed, I'm assuming now.
All good now.
Okay. I hope so.
As you saw, we relocated behind home plate.
You did. How was the angle behind home plate from?
We lowered the camera,
Right.
and I thought it was better. I think it definitely beats having the cross beam closer to the middle of the screen. Now it's at the top. But I don't think anything beats having the camera in center field. And then when you have a camera focused on the pitcher and batter from center field, you can go back to the wide shot up near the top. Though, Nick, honestly, I'm not sure we'll ever use that shot again because it requires us to run the cable from the top of the bleachers. And to be completely honest, it's a nightmare to set up and break down. It's a lot of extra work for very minimal payoff. I think the pitcher-batter camera in center field is what will really make a difference for the broadcast. And perhaps next year, when we have a second wireless system, we can then set up a second camera up near the top of the bleachers in the future.
We'll have to see, but good news for the Dolphins, Joe, is obviously Michael Keough stayed in the game. He heavily taped up his wrist, so he stays in for now. Brian Burkhead, the new batter for the Dolphins, as he faces a new pitcher. So you mentioned Gio Morales is now the reliever coming in for Lincoln. They now trail at 9-8. 2 outs of the inning at first and second for the Dolphins. That one in the dirt for a ball, 1-0.
Burkhead, as we saw, had to hit his last time up. Now the Dolphins have batted around in this inning as well.
Right.
Burkhead opened the inning with a hit. Dolphins, I presume, had 2, 3, and 4 due up, but we don't have live stats, so I wouldn't know. They do have the lineup next door. It's a very short walk, but I'm nice and comfortable here.
Yeah, it's actually not bad today. Yesterday it was tough with the wind. It made it very cold, but
I'll tell you this.
We're very grateful with the weather today.
The room to our left is very hot.
Oh,
very hot.
It's usually warm in that room.
Well, the reason for that is the sound system.
Right. That's why we have, when it gets warmer, they have the AC on. That's how I'm missing the outside 2 and 1. There's a reason why we put the AC on during some of the games as it gets warmer, and that's why when we make an announcement over PA, we don't know if it picks it up through the PA or not. So it is a very warm room as long as you don't have obviously a window open in that room.
Well, they have all the windows closed. That is a grave error.
Yeah. Yesterday it made sense. Today it does not make sense.
No.
2-2 now the count for Morales here on Burkhead as he looks to keep this a one-run game. Burkhead looking to attack and get more runs for CSI in this inning. Already attacked for 5. The 2-2. That one hit into left center field once again, but that one will be caught in left field by Agramonte to retire the side. But the Dolphins do get 5 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. They now head into the top of the 6th inning with their first lead of this game. They lead this one 9-8. Back for the top of the 6th inning here at CSI, and now a 9-8 lead for the Dolphins, but a very unusual sequence happening behind second base, Joe, as it seems to be Michael Palermo maybe is cramping up and right now is being attended to just about in shallow right center field. So the Dolphins are hopeful to see him stay in the game, but that's what we're hoping that at least is the case in that scenario for Palermo.
Palermo went down to a knee after he and his teammates had begun warming up ahead of the 6th inning. And after going down to a knee, he began grabbing at his leg. His teammates looked like they were trying to help him stretch out. And he's going to stay in the game.
I mentioned earlier there was a base hit into center field where Polomini, as I mentioned, had a play in which it went under his glove. And Palermo backed it up and made a throw into the infield. And I thought it looked like, and maybe was in that case, Palermo kind of grimaced and looked at his throwing arm, and it originally looked like he was going to come out of the game. The Dolphins were signaling for him to come out of the game, but he stayed in, and they almost had another scare right there where it looks like to be a cramp. But as you mentioned, he does stay in the game here at the top of the 6th, and the Dolphins now having their first lead of this game now 9-8.
Well, Nick, remember what I said about offense in the Phillies?
Yeah.
They're in front, 3-2.
Look at that.
Still batting in the home first.
Still early.
The Mets will get no more turns at bats today as they have lost.
Gotta bring that up again. Good thing I'm not a Mets fan.
I was on the other side of those
dark days,
those quips for many years.
I know a couple of our colleagues here at CSI are not happy so far with the Mets start. I got a little bit of a rib from TJ Tibbs yesterday about wearing my Yankee gear.
Oh, TJ, another poor soul that is doomed to Mets fandom. There's a way out.
Hit into center field, and will be caught in center field by Polomini. That's retired right there was Jalen Greenidge, and there's now one away.
There is light on the other side.
Do tell. Just any other team?
Any other team.
Okay.
Any other team.
Well, except for a couple. There's a couple other teams they shouldn't.
Well,
that's without without saying, but you know what I mean. You're being attended to in the other room, Joe. It looks like we have a stats issue. So for now, I'll be back on the call solo. As it brings up the pitcher, or the former pitcher, I should say, Jaden Greenidge. Greenidge, remember, was the pitcher and also Slash as a designated hitter in this game. His count now is 1-1. The 1-1 from Kelly. And there for a strike now, 1-2. The 1-2. This is high for a ball. 2-2 now the count. Two from Kelly. Now we'll skip in the dirt for ball 3. It's now a full count for Greenidge here. Three-two now the count for Kelly on Greenidge here. And that one is swung on a miss for strike 3. Kelly might have thought there was 2 outs in the inning already. It looked like maybe he was walking towards the Dolphin dugout. But he does get the punch out on Greenidge. And there's now 2 outs in the inning and brings up Wesley Hogan. The Lions shortstop will look to try to extend the inning here as he fouls that one off behind the plate 0-1. Different storylines for this game so far. That one misses inside for a ball 1-1. The Lions jumped out to another lead in this one. This time they led 8-0. Dolphins getting 9 unanswered runs to take the lead. And now looking for their bullpen to give them some good innings to keep this lead. As Kelly misses that one on the outside, 2-1 to count. Two won the count to Wesley Hogan here. And Kelly misses that one for ball 3, 3-1. If Hogan could reach base, the tying run would be on first base for Lincoln in this spot. The 3-1. On the outside corner for a strike, full count, 3-2. So a full count, 3-2 coming up here for Kelly. Trying to look for a 1-2-3-6. And keep his team now with the lead. So think about what pitch he's about to throw here. Kelly gets set and is getting ready for his 3-2 coming up to Hogan. And that one misses high for ball 4. So it's a 2-out walk issued and forced by Wesley Hogan. And now Anthony Burgos, the catcher, will have an opportunity as he represents the go-ahead run.
Now back, number 15, Anthony Burgos.
Huge spot for Burgos right here. He's already delivered a big hit for the Lions in this game. Looking for another one right here. Let's takes that one on the outside for a strike, 0-1. That is Matthew Polomini up in the Dolphin bullpen. Lions also have a reliever up in their bullpen as well. There's that one in there for a strike. That might be Hilbert Nina De Leon, who pitched in last night's game. Pitched in game number 2. He might be the one relieving right now for the Lions in their bullpen. As that one is hit into left center. But now tracks into center field, and Polomini will make the catch and retire the side. As the Lions will strand a runner on first base here in the top of the 6th inning. We head to the bottom of the 6th. The Dolphins leading this one, 9-8. Bottom of the sixth inning, and A.J. Vigliotti will lead it off for the Dolphins. And his song gets played again. It's still a 9-8 lead for CSI as he takes the first pitch strike 0-1. Joe, welcome back to the broadcast.
Is it that hard, Nick? Is it that hard?
No. I will
Way to throw everyone under the bus, Nick.
Oops.
Oops.
Saboteur.
So let's talk about the reason I was summoned next door. A bit of a unique situation that I haven't encountered before.
And I figured that was going to be an issue when you came up here.
So in the lineup card that we were sent pregame, they had the starting pitcher for Lincoln, Jaden Greenidge. He was listed both as the cleanup hitter, pitcher / designated hitter, and he was listed beneath the lineup as the pitcher. So apparently, in that situation, you are allowed to change pitchers without forfeiting your pitcher as the DH. So he remains in the cleanup spot, but he is replaced in the pitcher slot by the man who came in to relieve him, Gio Morales.
And he's now quickly behind the count 3-1 to A.J. Vigliotti here in the sixth. So that is definitely a weird sequence, but I had a feeling that was going to happen when I originally got the lineup card.
Now, the lineup card I sent was not from the Dolphins dugout.
That one hit into right field. That one's going to drop in for a base hit. Vigliotti will take the turn from first, but he will hold up there as Alex Jones cut that one off to make sure there wouldn't be a double. But it's a leadoff single for Vigliotti, giving the Dolphins now their 11th hit of the game.
Well, the Dolphins now lead in the hits column as the Lincoln Bats have gone a bit cold these last couple of innings. No runs on the board. They did their damage in the third and fourth innings, but Dennis Kelly out of the Dolphins bullpen has done a good job really slowing things down. The Dolphins were in a really big hole. He steadied the ship. The Bats have come to life, and CSI with a chance to increase their lead.
Chris Polomini now is up to the plate for CSI with a runner on. As he hits this one foul towards the parking lot, 0-1.
So as I was saying, Nick, the lineup card I got before the game was sent to me in an image, and it came from the Lions.
Right.
And that lineup card was oriented the same way.
This was the one that we got.
Yeah, you got one with both teams listed.
And I mentioned before this game where we had gotten the lineup card literally as the Dolphins were coming onto the field, so we had to scramble just to make sure we can get the lineups put into the live stats.
I was actually never sent the Dolphins lineup unless I missed it. Let's see. I was not.
Okay.
I got it for the first game
this
morning. I did not get one for the second game.
Polomini hits this one into right field. Long run for Jones. That one takes a one bounce off the wall. Polomini will go into second standing with a double. Holding at third base is A.J. Vigliotti. And the Dolphins now have second and third. Still nobody out in the inning.
And Nick, Polomini just missed a home run there. That ball hit halfway up the fence.
At first, it didn't look like that maybe would be a home run bid, but that one definitely gave a carry.
Speaking of home run bids, the man coming to the plate now already has 2 home runs in the game, or I should say on the day. Though, to be fair to me, I wasn't here for the beginning of the game.
In fairness, I made that mistake too.
But I should have known because the Dolphins had no runs when I got here.
Right.
And I've seen Martin's home run in this game.
You
so
have.
I should have known.
Martin, as you mentioned, has 2 for the day. Maybe number 3 is happening for number 33 in this next at-bat. And he wanted a home run on that one, Joe. Big swing and a miss.
Sure did.
Big swing and a miss for strike 0-1.
What do they call that? A daddy hack?
I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, it sounds weird coming out of my mouth,
It does
though.
sound
I'm not
weird.
going to say that again.
Yeah. That sounds like another saying that we've said on Sportsnet that we'll never say again either. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't. That's the scary part.
It's something that Nick Durst said. That was like a loud bounce. Something that Nick Durst said when him and I were both broadcasting with you during a basketball game. Now you might know what I'm talking about.
I know that, but
that's what I'm saying.
This reminded you of that?
No, you saying that we'll never say that again on the air.
Oh, yes. We will never say that again.
That's what reminded me of it.
Yeah, no. That will never be spoken again on my watch.
Not on my watch. Martin's now down on the count 0-2 here. Has 2 runners in scoring position trying to extend this Dolphin lead. As he takes that one on the inside, Morales thought he had strike 3. Burgos thought he had strike 3 as well as he Had a brief conversation with the home plate umpire. It's now 1-2.
Well, Martin, not the hitter that you'd like to see get second chances right now.
Long look in for Morales here as he shakes off a couple of signs. He's still looking in.
What is going on?
That was a very long look in. Is that a pitch clock? Did we just witness that? It's 2-2. We just had a pitch clock violation.
Where's the clock?
I don't know. They must keep it on the field. That has to be what happened.
That is what happened, but that has to be subjective. I don't see any clock anywhere. And there is no timer that we can see visible to us. I think it's left to the umpire's discretion.
I mean, that was a very long look in for Morales. He took a long time to get ready.
If there is a clock, it certainly expired long before the violation.
Yeah. And now think of that. Because of that pitch clock violation, that last pitch, it's now a 3-2 count for Martin here. And the 3-2 for Morales is hit foul behind the plate. First base is open, but that's a crucial mistake now for Lincoln because they could potentially walk Martin and load the bases for Waterman on deck. So we'll come again here on 3-2 for Morales to Martin. Half swing. Did he go? He did as Martin was making his way to first base. But the second base umpire said he went around on that check swing. And a huge out number 1 recorded by Gio Morales.
That's a brutal call, Nick. I don't know if there's any better way to describe it. Wow. I don't think there was any chance he went. Let's see if the replay corrects me.
We'll look in a second.
May have to slow it down a bit as well.
Should be good on 75. We'll check after this next pitch.
I'd probably go half. That way you can pause it. It's tough to pause. What do you think?
That's tough. I mean, it's a tough angle from us here, obviously.
Yeah, I think the angle makes it tough. Seeing it in real time is always going to be your best look when the replay is from behind the plate.
Right.
We don't have a camera down the line.
Like, certainly the bat definitely moved into a spot where maybe you could call that a strike, but I didn't think he went around either.
I didn't think he went around.
So the Lions catch a break right there, get the first out of the inning, and now Waterman has a 1-1 count. Waterman delivered his last time, Joe. Here we get a single into left field and bring home 2 runs.
Dolphins have gotten contributions in this game from top to bottom in the lineup. Most of that has come in the last 2 innings plus. Just 1 out here in the 6th.
It's now a 1-2 count for Morales. And Waterman down at front swinging for strike 3. So back-to-back punch-outs for Morales after giving up second and third, nobody out. And he is 1 out away now, Joe, from getting out of this jam.
And that was a wicked hook from Morales. He had Waterman way out in front.
So it's going to be up to Anthony Sotero, who broke open the game in game number 1 of this 4-game set with that 3-run triple that you mentioned earlier. He would look to get some runs here. Now, this is a crucial spot in the game, too, if you think about it. If the Dolphins are not able to bring home at least 1 run in this spot, that could be something that, as this game goes along, and if Lincoln were to come back and win, that could be something that the Dolphins will look back on. We'll have to think about it as the day goes on.
I think this at-bat is important, not just for that reason, but because the Dolphins have all the momentum in this game. Lincoln has had nothing going for them since they scored 5 in the 4th, and getting out of this jam, not allowing a run, could perhaps swing momentum back in the direction of the Lions and jumpstart their offense a bit because they haven't had much to celebrate since going in front 8-0.
Tara quickly up at the count 2-0. This will be an interesting spot. I'll make my point in a second about that 2-0 count. It's now 2-1. If you think about it also, with first base open, now I know the next batter is Michael Palermo, and it's not easy to get him out either. But you would bring up a lefty-lefty matchup if Palermo were to get up with the bases loaded. So maybe it could be an easier out for for Morales, to get that out. But it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be easy for Palermo's bat. That one popped down the right field line. Will it be catchable? It does not. It goes out of play. And the count goes 2-2.
Well, I think we know that the Lions value that left-on-left matchup in favor of their pitcher because we saw them pull their starter to get a left-on-left matchup with Morales coming in to face Brian Burkhead. So you know that's at least on the mind of interim head coach of the Lions, Vince Conner.
And they did the same thing in Game 1 as well. They brought in Pedro Santos out of relief. And they had him face Burkhead as well in a lefty-lefty matchup. That one chopped to third. Off of Gadet. This might be an error, and it will be. As Gadet bobbles that one, and allows Sotero to reach first base safely. In to score is Vigliotti, and it's now a 10-8 lead for the Dolphins.
Well, there's no other way to put it, Nick. The Lions have been victimized by their defense time and time again.
They wanted to give that a hit in the other room.
Really?
I don't know about that.
It did take a tough hop.
I took a bad hop, but you can't give that a hit.
It was a bad hop, but the hop occurred so far. Nick, capture the replay.
I have it right here. I just played it. You want me to play it again?
So let's see if what we spotted is actually what we spotted. I don't want to bring attention to it yet. But the Dolphins have a runner on third here. Runners on the corners, to be exact. Now, after that play was over, it looked like the runner had held at second. When did he go to third?
That's where I didn't see either. Wonder if I... Oh, that's not going to do anything.
If you pull it back, you might see more. So wind that back. We'll come back to the replay in a moment. But while you work on that, I'll follow the action. As that's it out to right center. Hit pretty well by Palermo. That's headed to the warning track, and it's down for an extra base hit. 2 runs will score as the Dolphins continue to build upon their lead. It is now 12-8 Staten Island.
Palermo gets that one into deep right center, and that one certainly took a wave on that one. Didn't look like originally off the bat the player will get extra base hits, but definitely took a carry on that and gave the Dolphins now their 12th unanswered run of this game. Now, going back to that play, Joe, I looked at the replay, and I don't see anywhere a spot where he runs to third base either.
Was the ball dead when the replay ends?
Yep.
He just walked over to third base and took third base. And nobody had him go back.
Okay.
How about that?
I didn't see it happen whatsoever because I was trying to capture the replay itself.
That is something I can't say I've seen. Was there any conference? Did he just trot over to third unnoticed?
I don't know because there wasn't a pitch thrown after during that. He must have just went to third.
Because it was good heads-up base running to stop between second and third initially.
Right.
That would have been the only play that the Lions had. I keep looking for live stats, and they're not here, and it's really bugging me.
The only live stats I was able to see were the live stats you had at softball, and I was able to keep our viewers tracked on everything that's going down there.
So, who was the runner at second? And that's not a nod to the comedy bit.
Was that Polomini?
I honestly have no idea.
I think it was Polomini was the runner at second.
He hit one.
Vigliotti scored on the sac fly, and he was at second base because Vigliotti was at third. Yes, it was Polomini.
Okay. Well, Polomini, didn't he double off the fence?
Yes, he hit the double off the right
field. And he held
field.
on the fly ball.
He held on yes.
It was a sac fly that brought the first run of the inning in? Or was it a ground ball?
The error brought the run in.
The error. And he held it second.
Yes.
So Vigliotti went first to third on the double.
Yes.
Okay.
That one hit into foul territory down the first base line and caught by the first baseman Greenidge to retire the side. But CSI does get 3 more runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. They now head into the top of the 7th with a 12-8 lead.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30. The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Back for the top of the 7th inning, and now a 12-8 lead for the Dolphins. But, Joe, we've found out some interesting note about the stats that you delivered Mike Morrow yesterday.
So before some of the games, CSI Baseball head coach Mike Morrow will request some stats from me. And he wanted the full stat breakdown for the Lions on the season. So this was early yesterday in the morning before the game. So at that time, I was not aware that the Lincoln website was defaulting to the 2023 stats. If you don't scroll up when you get to that page, you won't immediately see the record.
You won't notice it.
You won't notice it. So I printed him some stats, brought them to the dugout, and thought we were good. Well, about halfway through Game 1 yesterday, you and I realized that the website was directing us to 2023. We had to manually enter the date for 2024. So we did that. And obviously the stats are a bit different. So if the Dolphins dugout didn't realize it already, I apologize. They are using stats from last year.
Well, in fairness, some of the stats also for this season aren't updated as well.
No.
For Lincoln. So and I noticed that as I was reading some of the stats earlier, I forgot about that originally. As
I pretty much gave that up.
Yeah.
With the exception of pitchers, because the everyday players will have completely different stats.
I was doing that with the pitchers, and I said I could probably read these off, but it might not be as up to date, but the batters are certainly not up to date, that's for sure.
The best thing you can do is just relay how each player has performed in this series. That's the best thing you can do in a situation like that.
And we'd like to think for the most part I did that.
Very good, very good.
Jalen Gaudet was coming up down to the plate. He has a runner on first. His team now trailing by 4, Joe. This game is certainly taking a turn for Lincoln. Up early 8-0. The Dolphins in these last 3 innings have gotten 12 unanswered runs. And it's been a mixture of things. The Dolphins now have 13 hits in the game. Now also 3 errors in this game as well for the Lions.
And something else to keep in mind, we spoke about it soon after I came on the air. The Dolphins saved a lot of relief pitching in the first 3 games. Did not have to use more than 1 relief pitcher in any of their 3 wins. And that is really paying off for them right now because they're able to go to just about anybody they want out of the bullpen. And with 3 innings left in this game, you could argue they haven't used any of their 3 most used bullpen arms that have been the most reliable this year. They have Alex Martinez throwing right now, Ryan Fiore throwing. They haven't used Antonio Gautreau yet. So the Dolphins have plenty of options down in the bullpen and they only need to get another 9 outs in this game.
And we also should know Dennis Kelly, great job for him out of the bullpen.
Absolutely.
2 1/3 shutout baseball. Kept this within. Remember, he came in when it was 8-0. Now he's in line for the win. As that one's in there for strike 3, is Matthew Polomini, the new Dolphin reliever, comes into relief and gets a strikeout after giving up the first base runner, and there's now 1 out in the inning.
That was a nasty curveball from Polomini, as I will get you his numbers on the season. Matthew comes in with an ERA of 8.44 and a whip of 2.63 across 5 appearances and no starts. He has not recorded a decision yet this year. In 5 1/3, he's allowed 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 of those earned. He's walked 8, struck out 8, opposing batters hitting .286 against him in 21 plate appearances.
Josh Shepard now the batter for Lincoln here with 1 away. Runner is going. Throw for Vigliotti, though, not in time. As Ascona will reach second base safely with a stolen base.
The Lions have to do something to manufacture runs. And they're at the point in this game now, trailing by 4 with 8 outs to play with. That small ball slowly begins to leave the equation. You can't look to bunt runners over. You can't look to be super aggressive stealing bases to try and steal a run. But they do steal second there, and now a base hit can bring them back to within 3.
May have to turn the lights on also, Joe. Getting a little bit dark here at CSI. Not dark just yet. It's still 5:30 here on the East Coast. So that was on the high outside for a ball 2-1.
Now,
But
I know we do have some viewers from California for softball.
Right.
Don't know about baseball. I have to check the roster and see if we have any players from the West Coast. If we do, it's only 1. I know we have players from different time zones.
We do. There's, well, from the time zone wise.
Yeah.
Most of their players are from New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mostly New York.
Well, today's starting pitcher, Francesco Bonvini from Italy.
Yep.
We have Antonio Gautreau from Bel Air, Maryland. And outside of that,
mostly New
a
York.
whole lot of New York and New Jersey.
Yep. Count now 3-2 for Shepard here. With Ascona on second base. I'll look at second base from Polomini, the 3-2. He's hit it into left field. Long run for Burkhead. This could be trouble. He makes the catch! Brian Burkhead with an unbelievable catch in left field. Ascona will tag to third base, but Joe, he saved a run from coming in. What a play by the Dolphin left fielder.
He certainly saved a run, Nick, and he saved an extra base hit as well. I mentioned it earlier. Burkhead looked a bit shaken up after he scored earlier in the game. He is waving off the trainer and his head coach for now. We'll see if he remains in the game. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. He gives the thumbs up. He will stay in there. Now, Nick, did he just take a bow?
I mean,
he deserves it.
He definitely deserves it.
But is that what happened?
I think it might have been.
It might have been. Well deserved. Well deserved. Great play by Burkhead.
The Dolphins outfielders today, Joe, have been unbelievable in this game. Michael Palermo in game 1 had 2 diving catches down the right field line that robbed the Lions of 2 extra base hits, and now you saw Burkhead right there making the catch, and that's a dangerous catch too, considering he was right up against that wall, that fence in left field. So great play from Burkhead, and a great job also to not get injured on the play. And now 2 away in the 7th. It's Miguel Agramonte, the batter. He misses. He takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0.
Well, Nick, off the bat, I thought that was gone.
I thought that was gone too for a second.
I had my finger up, but
you
I wasn't spinning yet.
Did.
I wasn't spinning, though.
You weren't. You did. I
had the finger up just in case.
You were about to
it
point.
Was close.
I thought you were going to point your one to the sky for a second.
That was no infield fly, Nick.
No, I've absolutely not. You'll be doing that next week, though. You'll be doing that next week.
You know, I'm not really that kind of guy at the shows.
Yeah,
I don't engage like that. I just watch.
I'm going to tell you right now, I might engage in a couple of things.
If Chad Gable gets a moment, I would engage.
He won't.
That's my guy.
He won't. He won't. I wish, but he won't.
I don't know what's going on there. It seems like they're keeping him involved in that storyline somehow. But
he's going to be doing something that week. I'll show you what they have him doing something that week. It's not on the show, though.
Not on the show?
It's on the Friday.
I might have to sell 2 more tickets then.
Hopefully not my ticket. As Howland's chopped the third. Play on a hop from Sotero. He'll throw on to first, and what a scoop at first base by Thomas Martin. The Dolphins' defense in this inning, Joe, spectacular, or as some might say, stupendous.
Stupendous.
It has been used in the wild.
Nick. Fantastic.
Nice use of adjectives from us here at CSI Sports as we now head into the bottom of the 7th inning. Dolphins lead this one, 12-8.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
Bottom of the 7th, and it's still a 12-8 lead for the Dolphins. They'll have the top of the order leading off in the 7th inning. As Michael Kehoe takes a big swing and a miss for a strike, 0-1. It will be Kehoe, Burkhead, and Vigliotti for CSI here in the inning. So misses on the outside for a ball, 1-1. Good sight to see Kehoe still in the game after getting hit by a pitch earlier on. Had to heavily tape his wrist to make sure he could stay in the game as he hits that one foul towards the parking lot, now 1-2.
Well, Nick, we said it at the end of the last half inning. Fantastic defense.
Fantastic defense, yeah.
The Dolphins really paying off. And who knows where this game might be were it not for the Dolphins' defensive play in the field.
As Kehoe hits this one into left field, it could drop potentially, and we have another great play as Agramonte is able to slide down and make the catch for the first out of the inning.
How about this outfield defense, Nick?
I told you.
This time it's the Lions. You don't have to tell me. I've been here. I didn't see game one.
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning. Game one was also a really good defensive contest between these two teams.
And that will bring up last half innings hero, Brian Burkhead.
Burkhead making a web gem catch with that last play. You've seen a lot of SportsCenter top 10 plays in these two games here today. As he takes that one high and inside for a ball, 1-0, having to duck out of the way. It just seems as if every time that the Lions have had some momentum, or at least have tried to get that momentum back, it certainly could have changed the wave path right there if they got in the double. But Burkhead robbing the Lions of an extra base hit. He now has a 2-0 count here. And now make it 3-0. Now, Joe, obviously tomorrow is Easter Sunday. You have any plans for Easter Sunday?
Family in New Jersey, and then I'll be visiting my soon-to-be residents in New Jersey. Spend probably the early day afternoon with relatives on the mother's side, and I'll be taking over the apartment that my father currently occupies on June 1st. I'll be spending dinner time there.
Nice. Very nice.
What do you have going on?
Same thing, just family. And, obviously not the moving part thing, but family and friends, all that stuff. Just celebrating the Easter weekend as anyone else would. As
Is there
Burkhead.
baseball tomorrow?
For MLB?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's baseball.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, you gotta watch something on Easter, right?
Well, I know the NBA.
I was to say the Knicks probably play tomorrow. Don't they usually play on Easter?
The NBA has games, that's for sure.
I'll check right now. The Knicks should be playing on Easter, and they do. They have a home game against the Thunder. That's a good game against the Thunder. That's a very good game. All right.
I sold my tickets for that game to basketball assistant coach Khalil Shorter.
Oh, right.
I found out after the fact. Those tickets were worth quite a pretty penny. They got the deal of a lifetime.
All right. Hey.
My face value was $100. I think the resale market was about 3 or 4.
And they got a good one tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're very grateful that you were able to. I saw he was at the was he at the softball game earlier?
No, Kurt was.
Kurt was.
Kurt was and TJ was.
I knew one of them was there. I couldn't remember. TJ was there at the softball?
After you left. He was
okay.
here too.
Right, I saw him here. I didn't see him at softball. Okay. How about that? Green light given to Vigliotti on 3-0. Fouls him behind the plate.
With 2 outs, why not?
Might as well. You have 4 runs. And if there's a batter to do so, it's also him. So the bat continues. It's now 3-1 to Vigliotti. Morales still on the mound for the Lions here. And now the count goes to 3-2.
Vigliotti wants to join the home run derby.
There have been a lot of home runs hit these last 2 days. A couple here today as well. As I mentioned, I never seen a home run hit the dead center. We've seen 2 now here today. So, certainly been a couple of firsts here at the baseball complex. As Vigliotti will draw a 2-out walk and bring up Chris Polomini.
Polomini made a home run bit earlier, Nick.
He did.
Seems like we could say that about quite a few
About
players.
a couple players, yeah. The Dolphins would like to get Thomas Martin maybe one more opportunity. Obviously have one more at bat left in the scheme. He's on deck with 2 outs, and it's Polomini up to the plate for CSI here. That one in there for a strike. Dolphins have scored in 3 straight innings. They're looking to make it a 4th straight inning here. Polomini can get something into the gap, potentially bring home Vigliotti from first. The 0-1. Misses on the outside for a ball. 1-1 now the count. Miles checks the runner at first. The 1-1. Nice breaking ball in there for a strike, and it's now 1-2. So Polomini now down the count 1-2. Trying to keep the inning extended for CSI. That one almost hits him inside. Burgos will have to retrieve it as Vigliotti will go to second base. Took a wide turn at second, but he will stay there put, and it's a wild pitch that now gives the Dolphins an opportunity to bring home a run.
Once again, a wild pitch benefits the Dolphins. We've seen it time and time again these last 2 days. Dolphins have been very busy on the base paths, whether it be stealing or moving on wild pitches and pass balls. And late in this game, trailing now by 4 runs down to their final 6 outs, Morales has to find a way to strand Vigliotti on base.
See, he needs one more strike here. To do so, he's got a 2-2 count to Polomini. And he will get the strikeout as Polomini swings and misses on the ball on the inside for the final out of the bottom of the 7th inning. As the Dolphins do strand a runner here on second base here in the 7th, we head to the top of the 8th. CSI leads this one, 12-8.
across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
Top of the 8th inning here at CSI. It's still a 12-8 lead for the Dolphins. Alex Jones will lead it off for Lincoln as they try to get back into this game. They'll have 2, 3, and 4 in the inning. It'll be Jones, followed by Greenidge, then followed by Greenidge once again. It will be Jalen, then followed by Jaden, as the Lions trail by 4 runs. As you mentioned, Joe, it just seems as if the momentum for the Lions these last couple of innings has gotten away from them. And it looked like maybe they were going to get a run on the board the previous inning but Brian Burkhead's play on left field prevented that run from coming in.
And that's a really demoralizing play. If you're Lincoln, if you're the Dolphins, you have to love it. Your defense has supported your pitching staff throughout this game. We've seen some really nice plays, and those are just the plays that I've seen since coming up here to the booth. I know that we had some strong defense in Game 1, as you mentioned as well. Didn't get a chance to review that game film yet. So I'm not really sure what happened. I just know the final score was 8-3.
It's unfortunate. I'll make my point in a second after this 3-0 coming up from Polomini as it misses inside for ball 4. The Palermo play that I mentioned down the right field line was off a camera from where our camera is outside, which is unfortunate because it doesn't really do much, or maybe not the outside camera, the inside camera. It doesn't do much justice to the play that Palermo made because he made the catch pretty much at that line in right field. And if he did not make the catch, that would have brought home the first run of the game and given Lincoln a potential 2-0 lead, because who knows? If that goes all the way back to the wall, that could be an inside-the-park home run bid potentially for the Lions. So Palermo made a huge play in right field, made another diving catch in the 9th inning to preserve another extra base hit as well. And now you saw Burkhead there in left field making that play to save a run from coming in. That one hit the short. Could be a double play ball. 6-4. Do they get the 3? They do. It's a 6-4-3 double play and a nice scoop at the end from Thomas Martin. And there's now 2 away in the inning.
And I've been so impressed with Nico Rodriguez at shortstop during this series. He fielded that ball and transitioned to throwing over to second so quickly. And how about Thomas Martin and his ability to scoop the ball over at first base? Both Dolphin first basemen, he and Vigliotti, have made plays just like that during their time at first base. We've seen Martin make 2 or 3 of those in this game alone, and those have been very consequential plays in big spots. He comes through again here.
And Vigliotti did the same as well in game number 1, as you mentioned, but the Dolphin first basemen have been very crucial for them this season in terms of getting plays like that and having to scoop the ball on a short throw to first base. And as you mentioned, Nico Rodriguez, we get another great defensive play at short to turn that double play. And another demoralizing at bat for the Lions because now, after having a run around first and nobody out, now there's 2 away in the inning, and it brings up Jaden Greenidge with 2 outs in this inning. I mentioned he had that home run in game number 1. He led off the scoring here in game number 2 with an RBI hit in the first inning. But it will be up to him now to extend this 8th inning as the Lions now down to their final 4 outs of this one. The count now goes to 2-1 with that one missing on the outside corner.
So Vigliotti had a scoop in game 1 as well?
Vigliotti had a couple in game 1.
All right. I had no idea when I said it. I just know that I've seen him do it this year.
When you watch back the games, you'll see it. You'll see it on the replay. You had a couple of them.
I have a lot of games to catch up on.
You do. We've had some good ones here today, though. We've had some very good games here today.
Well, the way I do it is before going to sleep, I pop a game on my Roku TV. It's a 19-inch Roku TV right next to my bed.
Yep.
I cover my face in a sleeping mask. Can't have the light in my face.
Right.
I can't sleep like that because the TV is maybe a foot or two away from me.
Right. It's like when people play like.
Oh, the nature tapes?
The nature music.
Exactly. I do not have nature tapes.
No, but it sounds like it's kind of like that.
I listen back.
Right. As Greenidge is down looking for the final out of this 8th inning. As the Dolphins get the double play ball to get the first 2 outs. Polomini gets Greenidge down looking for the final out of the top of the 8th. We now head to the bottom of the 8th inning. CSI will look for some more insurance runs. They lead this one, 12-8.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Bottom of the 8th inning here at CSI. A 12-8 lead for the Dolphins. Thomas Martin will lead it off in this 8th inning. His home run earlier in this game made it an 8-7 lead at that point for the Lions. The Dolphins since have scored 5 more. Now coming on to pitch for the Lions in this spot is going to be Jalen Greenidge. He was the first baseman, remember, to start this game. It's those a strike to make the count 0-1. Now, from what it looks like the defensive alignment is right now for the Lions, Greenidge now moves from first to now on the mound. The third baseman, Jalen Gadet, is now at first base. Wesley Hogan was the original shortstop. He's now in at third. The issue now is who's at shortstop for the Lions here. I think that's what we're trying to figure out inside. It looked like it was a single-digit number at third base. Or, excuse me, at shortstop. But if I'm looking at the roster of the Lions, I'm not sure if it is a single-digit number. Count now is 2-1 from Greenidge here. The Dolphins will have 5, 6, and 7 up in the inning. That one in there for a strike. Now, Joe Foreman's in the other room helping fix the stats issues. They're trying to figure out who the shortstop is, as well as trying to figure out if Jaden Greenidge, the starter for this game, as well as a designated hitter, is staying into the game. I would assume he is. As Thomas Martin down swinging for a strikeout, and Jalen Greenidge gets a strikeout to start off the 8th inning. That'll bring up Jaden Waterman. Waterman already has an RBI hit to his day as well. Dolphins with 13 hits in this game. As Waterman will hit that one down the third baseline foul. They're trying to figure out if the DH spot is going to be forfeited by the Lions in this situation. As the count now goes to 0-2 to Waterman. It looks like the outfield alignment is still the same. The only difference is in the infield. I'll make my point in a second as the 0-2 misses for a ball. The difference is in the infield. Hogan's at third. Gaudette's now at first. As I mentioned, Jalen Greenidge is out of the pitcher. Ascona stayed at second. Joe, I'm not sure if you saw the number, but I don't know who the shortstop currently is right now for the Lions.
We got it.
You got it? Okay.
Got it. Problem is I already forgot. No, I believe it was Jeffrey Ascona, number 2.
So Ascona moved from second to short?
Yes. So the player who entered, I believe, was number 35. That would be Dominic Smithers.
And that's right. That's 35. All right.
So the question that we were met with is, with the changes made by the Lions, can they take a player who was not in the game and basically make them a flex replacement for the pitcher? I don't know if you can do that in baseball.
I don't know.
So, because what happened is one of their position players is now pitching.
Right.
However, when you do that, you now have that
DH.
extra spot. I think they forfeited the DH.
Okay.
So I might have to go make a lineup adjustment again.
And we won't know if that's the case.
I think they have to forfeit the DH.
And we won't know either if that's the case unless the Lions have a long inning in the ninth because the DH spot was the last. Yeah,
then
just
they
hit.
definitely forfeited the DH. So I'll make sure that we have that.
So Tara hits this one into
Right now.
shallow right field. And you'll have an opportunity to do so as Smithers, who, as you just mentioned, the new second baseman, makes the play and records the final out of the 8th inning. Dolphins go down 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the 8th. We'll send this one into the 9th. CSI looks to close this one out. They lead it 12-8.
When all eyes are on the court, we're focused on what matters most, preparing college athletes for a lifetime of opportunity. After the buzzer, off the court, it's about education and working to earn a degree. Creating healthier campuses through groundbreaking research and policies. And a fair shot so dreams can stay on track. United as an association, we've got work to do. We're building a pathway to lifelong opportunity.
We are now back for the top of the 9th inning. It looks like, Joe, we've solved that issue. It looks like the DH has been forfeited by the Lions.
Yeah, the DH is forfeited. There's no flex player in baseball, Nick.
Okay.
If your 10th player is not the pitcher, then I don't believe you can just have an extra player there.
Now, the question is, Joe, if the Dolphins come out and pull off this win, do they give you the player of the game?
I'd give myself player of the game every game.
I know you would. But considering the fact that they were down 8-0.
Spotlight hog.
They were down 8-0 and they scored 12 unanswered once you stepped onto the headset.
No, I am definitely not a spotlight hog.
I didn't say it, you did.
I know, it was a joke.
As Wesley Hogan flies out to left center field, caught by Polomini, and the Lions are now down to their final 2 outs of this one.
I will say, though, it just so happened that when I entered the building, things turned around rather quickly.
And usually it's the opposite. The opposite for you.
I've been here in voice all day. I've
Right.
been doing public address the entire day.
Oh, yeah. It took me a second to realize what you were saying. I was confused.
I've been announcing the batters
Right.
all day. Maybe now that's not enough. They need to see my face.
I forgot about that. Yeah, if they want, we can just move one of the cameras. We'll just put a live POV of you.
Soon we're going to have an AI-generated face. When I tried to AI generate my voice, it came out very, very awkwardly.
Right.
Not good.
Anthony Burgo's the batter. He's now down 0-2.
What you want is for anybody to be able to speak into a microphone and then my voice to come out on the other side for
Right.
the purposes of public address. So we tried that, and I had to try and mask my voice and make it sound different than my own voice. What came out was not human.
There's a reason why it's AI.
There's a reason why we didn't pay for a second month on that subscription.
You had to pay us first
I
month?
paid $1 for the first
All right,
month, so I was playing with it to try and
it's at
figure
least
it out.
$1. That could have been. It could have been way
It
worse.
was $1.
Okay, that's fair.
They did not get another penny from me.
I hope not.
Yeah, that service didn't quite work.
No. Now I'm curious to hear what it sounded like.
You should have heard the voice I put in. That's the real treat, not the voice that came out.
Oh, okay.
Because the voice that came out was trying to warp what I had input into the voice. Just imagine the highest pitched, squeakiest version of my voice you can.
Oh no.
That's what came out.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
okay.
not good. Not good.
That's definitely not good.
It sounded like what Joe Foreman may sound like if he had
Is it-
inhaled a great deal of helium.
I was gonna say, okay. I was gonna say, does it sound like Joe Foreman if he was trying to pretend to be Mickey Mouse or something?
Perhaps.
Okay.
That's a pretty good comparison.
I tried.
And no, I will not be pretending to be Mickey Mouse.
No, I know
on
you
mic.
wouldn't.
Yeah, you know me well.
Yeah. Half swing from Burgos does not matter, as that one's in there for strike 3. And the Dolphins are now 1 out away, Joe, from taking all 4 games of this 4-game set with the Lions.
And you and I talked about it yesterday, Nick. If one team could take 3 out of 4, it would really bury the other team at the bottom of the conference standings to start ECC play. With the Dolphins on the verge of winning all 4, it sets the Lions back tremendously. And with maybe 2 or 3 more losses in conference play, it could end their season.
That one hit into right field. Long run for Palermo, and Joe, he makes the catch. Another, what'd you say, fantastic?
Fantastic.
Another fantastic play recorded in the outfield for the Dolphins as they win this one 12-8 on the great catch in right field from Michael Palermo.
Hashtag impartial.
Are we going to have to make that a hashtag now with fantastic?
Well, hashtag fantastic is very partial, but the game is
Right.
over now, so our work is done.
Our work is done. As the Dolphins will take all 4 games of this 4-game series, and it looked like, Joe, at first, that was not going to be the case here. Game number 2, they trailed, as I mentioned, 8-0. They would rally off 12 unanswered runs and come back to win this one by the final of 12-8, and they now go to 5-3 in conference play.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, you have to love what you accomplished here this weekend. Early in the conference season, they pick up 4 big conference wins. It was a disappointing start to conference play against Mercy, a really tough loss in Game 2 on Sunday. They bounced back in a big way, did what they were expected to do. The Lions are a team that they've had plenty of success against. Very easily could have swept the season series last year as well. I think anything less than 3 out of 4 would have been very disappointing from the perspective of the Dolphins. They take care of business and pick up an extra win in the process. They win all 4 games heading into a big series next weekend against St. Thomas Aquinas College.
And I was going to ask you, going into that series now with Stack, how does the momentum of this team, obviously they're going to have a couple of days off since considering the next game is on Friday. How did they build this momentum to keep it going after obviously having this holiday weekend off and then going into Friday for that pivotal matchup with the Spartans.
Well, I think something that we've mentioned time and time again in this game that's been so important in this series is the defense. And that's something that you can bring with you game to game. That doesn't go away. Teams get hot at the plate. They have good games pitching. They have bad games pitching. But the kind of defense you play is something that you can maintain as a constant from game to game, regardless of what kind of run you're on. It's very rare that you see a team get into a defensive funk when you have such talented players in the field, and the Dolphins really flashed the leather throughout this entire series. We saw great plays from both teams, but on the scoreboard, if you look at it, the Lions, 10 errors combined in the first 2 games. Really tough to win that way. They also walked 10 batters in Game 2. That really hurt them as well.
Game 1s, too. They had 20 walks in the first 2 games of the series.
So it's really tough to win with numbers like that, but Lincoln showed a lot of fight in this series. They jumped out to leads against the Dolphins, especially here in this 4th and final game, an 8-run lead, but the resilience of the Dolphins just too much on this afternoon. They come from behind, erasing an 8-run deficit, and they come away with a 4-run victory.
That's the final line tally for this one. The Dolphins with 12 runs on 13 hits and the 2 errors. For the Lions, they had 8 runs on 10 hits and their 3 errors, but CSI picks up all 4 games in this series and is able to now go to 5-3 in conference play. As I mentioned, they will be off until next Friday. That most likely will be the next time we will be live here on the ECC Network for our broadcast, as the Dolphins will take on the Spartans of Stack in that one. We still don't know the status of Tuesday, where the Dolphins will be playing at softball. I'm sure that we will be finding out more in the next couple of days as well. Obviously, with tomorrow being Easter Sunday, we'll most likely find out by Monday if Tuesday is going to happen between with the Dolphins playing at softball. But, Joe, before we wrap this one up, any final thoughts about the entire week and any final thoughts before your Easter Sunday?
Well, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, I'd say the weekend went pretty well. Baseball wins 4, softball splits with Queens. The Dolphins snap a 6-game losing streak against Queens with that Game 1 victory earlier today. And looking ahead to next week, one final look at the forecast. It's not looking good, Nick. There is snow in the forecast on Thursday.
Snow? Oh,
There
no.
is snow in the forecast.
We can't have that. We got WrestleMania next week.
Yeah.
We better not be in Philly.
I could see a situation where they don't play on Friday either if it does snow. So
Oh,
hopefully
boy.
that is not the case. But
All right.
I think that would put baseball in jeopardy specifically. And baseball is, of course, the game that would take place here on Friday.
Right.
What they could elect to do is go double on Sunday. That's something that's definitely on the table. So the Dolphins will be at Stack on Saturday. That's a certainty. It looks like weather will be okay in that regard. But in terms of Friday, if it does snow on Thursday, you never really know how the field is going to respond to the wet weather and whether or not the Dolphins will be able to play. But it looks like Tuesday and Wednesday highly likely are going to be washed out by rain. Hopefully that changes. The Dolphins have games that they need to get in, specifically that conference doubleheader against Malloy. So we'll see what happens, and we'll monitor the forecast throughout the week. A decision should be made early next week. Follow CSIDolphins.com for the latest scheduling information.
But for today, that will do it for us here at CSI Sports Net. Once again, the final score of game number 2. The Dolphins beat the Lions 12-8. They now improve to 5-3 in conference play as they head into their Easter holiday with a 4-game 4-game sweep over the Lions of Lincoln University.
The best
Go ahead,
of us
Joe.
have been tongue-tied, Nick.
Yeah, it's been a very long week for us this week, but nonetheless, we've gotten through it, and now we will get into our Easter holiday. Should be the last time I'm on the broadcast until a couple weeks from now, as obviously next week is WrestleMania for us. So we'll be enjoying WrestleMania. I will not be here, at least for Tuesday if it gets rained out, and next Friday as well if the Dolphins play a Stack. But for all of us here at CSI Sports Net, my broadcast partner Joe Foreman, we want to wish everyone a very happy Easter and enjoy your Easter weekend, and everyone enjoy the rest of their weekend here tonight. Once again, the final score, Dolphins 12 and the Lions 8.